You're live, it says. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It's the live stream, Thursday live stream. How's it going, John? I see you in the chat. We got two people. I'm just gonna, we're gonna do the small talk for a minute because people like to be late to the party and give them a few minutes to get in the door before we get to the festivities. And, I don't blame you. I don't blame it. If you're watching on the replay, I don't blame anybody for that. I do not want to be the first one to the party. I will be fashionably late if the party's at 6. I'm showing up about 7 most of the time. I mean, there are times that I can make an exception to that rule, but I do not like being the first person at the party. I don't want to be the first person at the club. I just don't want that. When it comes to business, I'm kind of the opposite. I try to be early. I always try to be early. If I have a meeting, if we're going to give a presentation, whatever, we got more people filing into the boardroom here. So, but if it's business related, it's work related, I'm trying to be early. If it's a party, I'm late. The party really doesn't get started till like after midnight anyway. Why do you want to get to the bar at 10 p.m. and just waste all that money on drinks and get too drunk to enjoy the party when the party's really happening from the hours of 12 to 2? So welcome everybody. We got 8 people in the house. Like I said, I just got a small talk my way through the first 4 minutes. Hey Adam, I got here late. I'm late. If it's a party, I'm not showing up on time. So that's why I'm just kind of running my mouth and just, running down the clock. But we're closing in on I think 7 people's enough for this crowd to get things moving. But the theme of the day for me, oh my God, I got so much to talk about and so much not to talk about. I am exhausted. Exhausted is the name of the game today. You know how I always talk about this. If you're a regular here, you get that how many times have I said, when you're about to level up in life, life is like a video game. And every time you're about to level up, things get crazy. I'm like what did I say I am? I'm a level 7 wizard now, and I'm trying to become a level 8 warlock. What was it? Let me recap off the top of my head the levels. The first level, was it 1? Level 1 was the day I got out of the joint and ended up back at my apartment, which was, my ex-girlfriend and my apartment, because she got the apartment for us. That was level 1. And that didn't last long. If you know the story, if you've been following this channel. Level 2 was being homeless. And and it doesn't sound like it, but it was an upgrade. I didn't realize it on the first day. By day 3, I was like, holy shit, this is better. I wish I was homeless weeks ago because it was so bad. It was so bad living with her that homeless was better. You got to be pretty bad if someone would rather be homeless than sharing a space with you. I'm saying. So anyway, that was level 2, was homeless. Glenn says, what's up? Disappeared. I was busy at work and only looked at my phone. Well, at least you're getting the notifications. I don't know. I'm going to beat the YouTube shadow ban. Other people who reached 1,000 followers when I did, they're up to like 10, 20, 50,000 followers. YouTube had me in that boot camp. All the people in the boot camp are like 300,000 followers, subscribers. I'm using the wrong term. 500,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers. And here's little old Adam with 1,200. And they put me in that same club and they gave me a YouTube agent, a human being to talk to about my channel and whatnot. And I'm like, why? What? I even asked her, I said, why am I in this program when you guys shadow ban me and don't let me grow? We'll figure it out. I don't give a shit. So I'm just in it. I'm doing it for fun. And whatever happens, happens. I never did this. I never signed up with an agenda on YouTube. It just, we're going through some phases, I guess. um, so okay, yeah, level 1 was getting out of the joint, level 2 was being homeless, level 3 was the day I moved to Houston. Level 4 was the day I moved into that stupid tool shed. Level 5 was the day I moved into this place. Level 6 was getting a car. I feel like I'm missing a level somehow. Maybe I am on level 6. Maybe I'm a level 6 wizard and I'm trying to be a level 7 warlock. So I don't know. But anyway, that the money in the car all kind of went together. I don't know. I wrote this down in my notes somewhere. The levels. I'm gonna have to make I'm gonna have to add to my slide deck. Speaking of the slide deck, let's give a shout out to all you awesome channel members. Fuck. Well, let's see here. There you are, all you awesome channel members. At least the last time I checked, we got 6 in the house. We got Blue Sky, Jared, John, Alex, Angel, Keyrod up in the house. We had a good time last weekend on the members only live stream. That's for sure. I got to talk about some things I don't want to talk about outside of that because Las Vegas rules apply in the members only live stream. Whatever happens in the members only live stream will stay in the members only live stream. So anyway, I talk about how things in life just get crazy and ridiculous when you're about to level up. It's like a video game. When you get to the boss of level 5, all of a sudden it's hard and you might die 100 times before you can beat it. You might have to keep going back to the beginning of the level and try again and try again and try again. And then when you finally beat it and you get to level 6, you get to cruise for a minute. They always make the next level easier than the end of the previous level. That's proper video game design. Unless you're playing like Tetris or something like that, where each level it just gets faster and faster and faster, and there's no leveling up. It's just you reach a certain point and they turn up they turn up the volume, they turn up the difficulty. But in a traditional video game like Super Mario Brothers, Assassin's Creed, even Grand Theft Auto, whatever, the missions get harder, but you get to cruise for a little bit and chill before it really ramps up. And the drawback is if you mess up and you get killed by the boss, you got to go all the way back to the beginning of that level and try it again. There were times in Assassin's Creed, one of those Assassin's Creed games, I wanted to throw the controller through the TV, but I had an Xbox Elite controller that was probably $200, and the TV itself, that's an expensive temper tantrum. So I just went outside and got on the bike and took it out on the bike. So, but I'm exhausted, man. The stressful things, the good things, the barrage of the synchronicities being thrown at me. Oh my God. 10. I could list out 10 crazy synchronicities today that are just, I'm so blown away by it. And it happens so much from the moment I got up today till 5 minutes ago. Just crazy. Today's were all good. I'm beside myself right now with all the crazy synchronicities being thrown at me, to the point where my whole body aches. Like sometimes these things are so intense that my whole body just gets achy, and I'm going to have to go sit in the tub with the Epsom salts and the eucalyptus oil and the baking soda and the incense and the whatever else I got going on in there tonight, because I had to do it like a few days ago and it changed the game. I was completely a different person when I got out of that bathtub. Felt so good. And I'm gonna, oh, there's my kitty cats meowing outside. Been wondering where they were at. But anyway, I can talk about some of that in the members only stream, and some of it I can talk about now. But I am also exhausted because I rode my bicycle to the bakery yesterday. I had to work an evening shift, and Yeah, having 1,200 followers who are on the same page as yourself is already a very difficult statistic for YouTube. Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like that, Glenn. They don't want 1,200 people having the wrong thoughts. That's for sure. Um, but I rode my bicycle to the bakery. I had to work from 4 to 10, and my car wasn't fixed. That. We'll talk about that drama in a minute. Oh my god, orange juice. Mm, does a body good. All right. So, yeah, I rode my bicycle there. They were all like, "Oh my god, you're gonna ride home at 10 o'clock? Oh my god!" Like um, the one woman who's like everybody's mom. She was really upset with me for not calling in, and I was like, "I'm a big boy. I can do this." My longest one day bicycle ride's 174 miles. I can handle a 18-mile ride home from the bakery. My longest bicycle rides total is my longest trip bike ride is about 800 miles. I can handle it. Um, I was lit up. It was actually a really nice bike ride, to be honest. Chill. The only part that pissed me off is there was like a construction crew or something like that. They literally had a fire hose blowing water out onto the road. And as I came up on it, there were cars behind me. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And it was hitting the cars as they go by. And I'm like, there's nothing I could do about it. I got blasted with a fucking fire hose going down this one road. And my whole left side of my body and my left foot, or my right side of my body and my left foot, were completely soaked the rest of the way home. I was pissed. But it wasn't cold. It wasn't that cold because it's Houston. And it's looking like it's beginning to look a lot like a muggy, hot, sweaty Christmas here in Houston. It's looking to be 80 degrees all week. So I'm like, booyah. I love it. I cannot. I have shivers just thinking about the horrors of Pittsburgh and Western New York winters, Buffalo, New York winters. Oh my God. I could care less if I ever see another snowflake for the rest of my life. But it was a nice bike ride. 18 miles home. Traffic was really sparse the whole way. I was lit up like a disco club. I had like 3 lights on my backpack, 4 lights on the back of the bike, 1 flashing bright white strobe light, and a bunch of blinking red lights all over my back. I had 2 high beams, like, 2 several thousand lumen lights. They're like, a car bright blasted me coming the opposite direction, and I just hit this button on my helmet, and I'm like, boo! Got you, bitch. And lit up that whole inside of the car. That person was, I probably could have put him in the ditch. That light is so bright. Don't bright blast me. You're not gonna like, because I can aim my head right at your eyes and shine my bright beam right into your face. So, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good angry death metal playlist to get me home, and I definitely kicked it up a notch than the average speed. Hour and 15 minutes. Boom, done. But I am tired. But working a 6-hour shift, closing at that place, and the 2 bike rides and everything else, I am tired right now. I was about 15 miles an hour, which is not my worst average speed. On a really bad day when I am tired, 12 miles an hour will be my average speed. On a good day when I'm feeling it and I'm crushing it, 18 to 20 miles an hour average speed. And I used to, back when I was young in my 20s, man, I used to be able to rock 25 to 30 miles an hour on the flats without even trying. Now, maybe it's the bicycle and less my old age and beer belly than the bicycle. I don't even know if you can call this a beer belly, because it wasn't caused by beer. It's just like the dad bod thing, like, yeah, 30 miles an hour is Lance Armstrong speed. 25 is there's a big difference between cranking 25 and 30. At my top, I was like a 25-mile-an-hour guy on the flats. Um, the Tour de France, their average speed is 30 miles an hour, and that's in the mountains. So that's an average, like they're going up the mountain at 20 miles an hour. I'm talking about the flats on a flat land. We used to do these weekly time trials up on the lake shore on this really flat road that goes right along Lake Ontario. And it was 5 miles down, 5 miles back. It was a 10-mile time trial every, Tuesday night or whatever. And that was your fitness gauge to see, because no matter what direction, the wind is always coming from the west up there. But no matter how bad the wind is, you're going to have a headwind out and you're going to have a tailwind on the way back. So it's going to even itself out. And I was, 24, 25 miles an hour regularly. But now I can barely get over 20 sometimes. Like last night, I was trying a couple of times when I felt good and the music was right. I get up to like 22 and I'm topping out. And I'm like, really? I used to be able to get up to like 37 if I wanted to hammer down. So I don't know. Being old sucks, man. It just sucks. But I'm gonna talk because you're asking me about my car. I got a lot of stuff to unpack. So let's go back to the screen share. Let's jump into our everybody's favorite book on this channel. The only book I read right now, Jesus Calling by Sarah Young, the daily devotional, where it's written in the style for anybody who's new to any lurkers who just joined. This book is written from the perspective of Jesus having a conversation with you every day. And so it's biblically ground, but it's not straight out the Bible. So today, I'm just going to read today's because it fits. It fits crazy. It fits today, especially when you are playing. All right, yeah, you're gonna get where I'm going. If you're a member, if you're a regular, when you are plagued by a persistent problem, one that goes, I gotta stop. Hold on. All right, when you are plagued by a persistent problem, one that goes on and on, view it as rich opportunity. An ongoing problem is like a tutor who will always be by your side. The learning possibilities are limited only by your willingness to be teachable. In faith, thank me for your problem. Ask me to open up your eyes and your heart to all that I am accomplishing through this difficulty. Once you have become grateful for a problem, it loses its power to drag you down. On the contrary, your thankful attitude will lift you up into heavenly places with me. From this perspective, your difficulty can be seen as a slight temporary distress that is producing for you a transcendent glory never to cease. And so, y'all know I've been having some car problems. So, really? I didn't. Oh, it's too late now. I actually made some of these bold. But I guess I didn't paste the slide into my deck. Did I? Let me just page through these and see. No, I did not. Okay. Well, we're just gonna wing it. So the parts that stood out to me on this, you're just gonna have to read along without the bold type. It's been one of those days, man. It's been one of these weeks. I am off my game a bit. It's been weeks I've been off my game, but I'm coming back. Today was a big comeback. When you're plagued by a persistent problem, one that goes on and on, view it as a rich opportunity. Obviously, I've been having a car problem that's 2 months deep. 2 months I've been dealing with it. An ongoing problem is like a tutor who will always be by your side. Ask me to open your eyes and your heart to all that I am accomplishing through this difficulty. I mentioned that what I think it was last week, I don't remember. I mentioned that last week. I mentioned that I took my car to one of the garages and I saw that they were using some really advanced software to work up their quotes and to manage their shop. And I was like, what is that? I could see it on her screen. And I'm like, huh. And so when she sent me a quote, it was from this system. And I did my research and my homework and I traced it back to this company, this software company, and they're actually based here in Houston. But they're a pretty big company, about 200 people strong. And they were looking for a visual designer, not a user experience designer, but more of like a marketing graphic design kind of person. And so I'm like, huh. I did my homework. I researched the company a little bit. I applied for the job. And then I started to talk to you guys like, what if my car breaking down opened up an opportunity for me where when it all works out the way it's supposed to work out, I will be glad that my car broke down because that is what pushed the opportunity to the forefront. That's what opened the door for something to happen or whatever, whatever. And so, I talked about applying for that job. Well, that's done. I got the reject. I noticed that the job lead disappeared from their website one day. And then, like, I'm telling you, like 2 or 3 hours after it disappeared, I got a rejection email, the standard copy and paste form factor, the form letter that's just pre-formatted. We really appreciate your due diligence and taking the time to apply, but we have decided to review other candidates whose qualifications are a closer match to the opportunity. And whatever, just fuck off. I would have rather been ghosted. I hate these things. Like, just I don't like being ghosted, but sometimes I would prefer it. I would rather get, like, honestly, if you're gonna send me some lame ass rejection message, you know what? Ghosting would be better. Ghosting would be better. Um, let's just leave it at that. I would rather get the ghost than that. Um, we'll keep your resume on file for any future Fuck you. No, you won't. So, anyhow, um, so yeah, that didn't. But anyway, um, I kind of have to. I have some notes, but I got to wing it today because I didn't have time to really think. I have a main topic for the show today, and I'm going to get into that. We like to kind of build up to that. I don't just jump right in. So, you'll it all comes full circle though. As long as you want to stick around, people come in. I see people come in. They come out. They're like, "Who's this guy? Oh, what an asshole! They're in for 20 seconds. They're gone." But it sucks. That's sometimes you see me staring over there, and I'm looking at the number of people. I should just put a piece of tape over it or whatever, and just go. But then I wouldn't see people telling me if there was a problem with the stream, and I won't see your chats. But anyway, the car problem, like I said, 2 months straight with no end in sight. Last Friday, I've been limping along using the car, putting a space heater in the passenger and the driver's side footwell, to warm up the car for 20 minutes before I try to drive it anywhere, and just limping along. And so last week it was cold. I drove it on. I picked it up from I had it in two different garages. Neither one of them did anything to fix it. So I went through a whole week of that. I picked up the car. I drove it on Saturday limping along like I've been doing. I did it again on Monday. It's drivable, but it wasn't, I have to heat the car before I can start it. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the car's sitting there. Friday, it's like 4 p.m. It's like 77 degrees outside. It's warm. And I'm like, I got to go get some groceries. I'm running low on like the TP, the paper towels. Crap. that's what I forgot today. The paper towels and just random things I'm missing that I need to go to the grocery store. So around 4 o'clock, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the grocery store. I get in the car, I turn the key, nothing. Just and it just dies. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Uh it's just the car won't start. And so I do all the tricks. I take the battery cables off and rub them together. I don't know why it works, but it does. I put a heater in the car. I heat the inside of the car had to be 97 degrees by the time I was car would not start. Would not start. Done. I sat there until like 6, 7 o'clock at night trying to get that car to start, and it would not. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta get up tomorrow and I gotta ride my bicycle to the bakery tomorrow. And I wasn't planning on it, so I had to like scramble, and it's gonna be pitch black. It's gonna be pitch black in the morning. And so I had to get lights charged. I wasn't ready for this. But I did it. I have a system. I have a checklist I can go through for the bicycle. So I don't really have to think about it. I just have to do what the checklist says. And as long as I check, I don't need to think about it. That's why I do it like that. I'm not going to forget anything. I'm not going to forget like my work shirt. I'm not going to forget that because it's on the checklist. As long as I do, check. So I did it, got it all ready. It was so foggy and so dark on Saturday morning. I couldn't see 10 feet in front of the bike, even with the bright lights I have. And it was kind of fun. It was like one of these, it showed me that I miss riding my bike. I did it again yesterday, like I said earlier, and it I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more yesterday than I did on Saturday, but the old taint is a little beat up, that's for sure. Like the conditioning of riding almost 4,000 miles, riding 3 to 6 times a week regularly, and then taking 2 months off, and you sit down on that bike seat. I was like, yo, oh my God. Yeah, the old taint got beating. You got to take care of the taint, or taint gonna take care of you. That's the number one rule of riding a bicycle many miles. Take care of your taint, or taint gonna take care of you. You take care of it, you'll be fine. You can do it. That's the number. I had to get up off the seat, and I forgot the body glide, the special ointment you can use to help with that. And I'm like, halfway home last night, I'm like, oh man, you need that body glide, because you get conditioned, you get to where your tank can take a beating, and you can ride for 80 miles without having to have super deluxe padded shorts anymore. I got to the point back in the day where I could go on a 30-mile bike ride wearing jean shorts, jorts, and ripped up jean shorts, and I'd be fine. But anything above that, you got to take care of that. But this car is driving me nuts. I got to the point where I'm like, I hate this car, man. This thing has left such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't even want to own another Volkswagen, only because of this one problem. But if I'm keeping it in perspective, I know you guys know when I was looking for a car, I got down to two vehicles that I was going to look at on the same day, and I was absolutely going to buy one of the two because they were both competitively priced with each other, and like value for value, they were around the same price. So it was going to be one or the other. And one was a Toyota Corolla that was 6 years older and had 30,000 more miles, or this Volkswagen. I chose the Toyota, and I've been kicking myself for it. But I also have a friend who drives a Toyota, and her car is a mess too. So, just because it was a Toyota doesn't mean it would be better. Maybe. I can't imagine that the Toyota would have this issue where it doesn't start because some Atari cartridge got borked. But that's what it is. But I'm done second guessing what car I want to, you can't go back in time. You can't undo the past. I'm just going to have faith that God has a plan and that's it. And that's not even the end of that story. This is I'm just kind of leading you through how this week has progressed. And I'm not even up to current. We're not up to, we haven't caught up with the clock yet today. I just kept saying, I know I'm about to level up because the last 2 months, well, the last month, I would say the last month have been absolutely insane. And it's insane again, like happens every single time I'm about to hit a new level and get to a new level of the video game. I'm on the level boss right now. I'm fighting the boss, and I got to figure out how to beat this boss on this level, and I'll be a level 7. I'll be a level 7 warlock, and then I don't know what's next. Level 8. I was a level 6 wizard, a level 7 warlock. Maybe level 8 is the master the master Freemason. I don't know. But anyway, I'm about to level up. I can tell because life gets crazy and synchronicity is going berserk. Like all the coincidences, the signs and wonders, the things that I see, I wake up and there's something on my phone and it's boom, it's like telling me a specific thing that is not a random coincidence, because when it happens 15 times a day, you just have to throw up your hands and say, yeah, that's definitely not a coincidence anymore. So yeah, remember how I was talking about how the car problem might end up leading to something good, like getting a new job or something like that? Well, that actually came to pass in a weird sort of way. I came into work on Saturday on my bicycle, and the people I work with were like, "Oh no, what's going on?" What's going on with the car? And whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, it won't, I told them what happened. I said it's done. And but I did get a quote finally from the second garage to get it fixed, and they came in the cheapest. And so I made plans to have it towed there on Monday. But I was like, sorry guys, I can't make it to the Christmas party tomorrow, but hope you all have fun. And so one of the people that works there was like very upset. Like, no, Adam, you're going to the freaking party tomorrow. I don't care what I have to do. I will make sure that you get there. Just shut the F up. And you're going to the party. Just shut up. And so somebody came to pick me up to go to the Christmas party. And nobody lives where I live. Nobody that works there lives where I live. So whoever came to get me was going to have to go way out of their way to come down here and do it. Now, me personally, I don't care about driving. If I had to go 60 miles to get somebody, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Driving does not bother me in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Like, I would never, like, let's go 100 miles to get there's this ice cream place that's really good. Let's go try it. And it's oh, yeah, that's worth driving 100 miles. But I will do stuff like that. I'll go on a 60-mile drive to get a $5 thing on Craigslist because I can't find it anywhere else or whatever. Like, I will do stuff like that. And I'll enjoy the trip. I'll make something of it. Oh, there's a cool thrift store. Let's go check that out. Or, there's just some random thing. Turn it into, oh, let's check out this restaurant, whatever. So I don't care about going on. But some people do. They get all bent out of shape. Oh, I'm not going. Oh, that's like 10 miles out of my way. I'm not going to do that. So all I'm saying is somebody came and got me to go to the Christmas party. And that was really awesome. And like, I just keep getting told over and over, God put me in that. When I started working at that job, I was in a bad mood. Because, that's a low blow to go from making like 150 large every year and having a house next to a 30-foot waterfall and 3 vehicles and a separate building for your office and a 2-car garage and 2 acres of land with your own archery range. We had a 60-yard archery range that we built in our yard, and 1,000 acres of woods behind the house, to living in a fucking tool shed in Houston, working a $10 an hour job at some bakery. Like, that's a bit of a drop. And that's a little bit of a drop in your status, right? And I wasn't feeling it. I was not a happy camper. And I just remember going back, if I go back in time, I was miserable back then about this whole thing. And but now I understand that God put me there because I had all these opinions about certain things and people. And I'm not going to get into some of the details, but I basically know that there are good people out there and that there are good. I work with a bunch of girls. You know what I mean? Like it's a bakery. So there's like three dudes and a whole bunch of women. And you know how you know me if you've been watching my channel, especially when my ex-girlfriend threw me out into the street to be homeless, my opinion about women went down a little bit. I'm just going to put it, the things I've said, but my opinion was not very high of the opposite sex. And so part of me being around this environment is like I'm being told over and over again that what you believe is not true. What you believe is not true. Here's like 20 girls that you work with, and they're all really wonderful people and would all, some of them are married, some of them have boyfriends, whatever. They're all good people. Like they do not match the mold that I've put all women into because of the experiences I went through and the trauma that I went through. And so that's part of it. Part of it was when God wants to humble you, how many times have you heard stories about God taking somebody who's on top, house out next to the waterfall with the private office and the three cars and the all the stuff and the six figures and in the archery range and the woods and all the stuff, and then boom, you're homeless now. How's that feel? Does that change your perspective a little bit? So he did some of this to humble me. And I don't hate my job. I don't dislike being there. It's, a lot. How many people would go from where I was to where I am and be absolutely miserable and pissed off and angry about it every single day and just hemming and hawing and and this. I can say this. I won't name any names or whatever, but there was somebody who would complain about having to drive 14 miles to the bakery every day. Oh, it's so far and there's all this traffic and blah, blah, blah. And somebody else was like, Adam rides his bike 25 miles each way to get here. Eh, You know, put it into perspective, and so like, I don't know. I just like, I'm around a good group of people and I've got friends here in Houston. And there's so many things, so many things. Like another one, I had a rule: I will never be friends with a coworker. I will never be friends with people I work with ever. Work is work and fun is fun, and they don't belong together. And I was like that for years. When I worked for the company that fired me for going to the hospital to have a kid, that because my son was being born, I got fired for that, and then that changed my whole. Everything became cutthroat around that time. It was the stock market crash of 2008, and it changed business. It changed the way people behave, and it turned into a cutthroat, vicious, nasty world. Prior to that, I used to make friends at work all the time, but after that, I would not even go to happy hour with these people after work. I would go to work, do my job, go home. No, I'd never talk about my personal life. I would never cross that line. And here I am, hanging out with people I work with again. So it's like I'm getting feedback all the time about why I'm there. And it has nothing to do with the money. It has nothing to do with you needed to go get a job to make the probation officer get off your butt. Oh my goodness. This has been a busy week. I got something for you there too. Um, there's a whole bunch of things I'm supposed to get out of working at this bakery that are good for me, and I'm there for a reason. And like I said, it has nothing to do with money or a job or anything. It has to do with spiritual things and things I'm supposed to understand and to help me get to my next place or whatever. Um, and a little bit of a knockdown, knocked me down a few pegs. Um, so okay, yesterday was a day. Holy crap, I can't remember. First thing I see when I wake up yesterday was a message from my probation officer saying, "Hey, I'm coming over. Be there." Pretty much. I'm like, "You got to be fucking kidding. Come on." I get out of bed. I haven't seen this guy for 6 months. That's my warning that I get. Be there. And I'm like, "Thank God I saw this text so I had time to like clean up a little bit." It's not like my place was thrashed, but if you got people coming over, I gotta go make sure all the dirty dishes are done. And, I gotta make sure, make my bed and all that kind of stuff that I probably wouldn't have made my bed yesterday if it wasn't for that. Just things, make it look nice because he's gonna come in, he's gonna want to walk around, like, you know, obviously you don't want a bunch of crack pipes and beer bottles all over the place. So you got, you know. So anyway, he comes over and he comes in. He doesn't even come past the front door. He's just like, "Hey, I'm just stopping in to see how you're doing. I'm supposed to check up on you. Like right now, you're on this threat level where I have to visit you every 6 months." He's like, "I'm not." He's like, "I can see you're doing fine." And then he goes, "Look," he's like, "I am applying to put you on the lowest threat level that we have available, but there's a process to it. I have to file some paperwork and it might take a little bit of time. But if they approve you, you'll never see any of us again. You'll have to fill out your monthly paperwork and stay out of trouble. And as long as you don't have any problems and you don't get in trouble or whatever, we will never show up at your house again. We'll never, you'll never get a surprise visit. You're basically on your paperwork on a desk, but we have the feeling that, we're not going to have any problems with you. So we're just going to put you on, we're just trying to get you out the door. And we know that you got some time left, but we know that, like, just stay out of trouble and you're not going to see us anymore." He's like, "You won't even see me anymore because I won't be your officer anymore." He's like, "If you get switched over to that, we got one guy over there that handles all that, and you might not even ever meet him. And so the only time that you'll ever have to have a visit is if you move and you change your address because we're required to come and visit you when you do. And that's it." So we also talked about how I'm still planning on trying to apply for early release, but it's I got to file a motion with the court, and I'm not a lawyer, and I can't afford a lawyer for that. And I'm still going to reach out to Donald Trump, but yeah, I expect anything from that dickwad because Donald Trump doesn't do a damn thing. All that dude ever does is bitch about the government on social media all day, and he doesn't actually do anything. It's like, yeah, we know the government's corrupt and it's fucked up and people need to go to jail and the elections are rigged. And, we get it. We get it. Yeah, the election was rigged in 2020. Are you going to do something about it? You're the fucking president now. If anybody out there is in a position where you could actually do something about these things, it's you, motherfucker. Do it. Stop bitching about it. All he does all day long on Twitter, he's just bitch, 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 and doesn't do anything. And I'm fed up with that guy. I'm fed the fuck up with him. So I'm trying not to swear, but it comes out of me. So anyway, yeah, probation. Boom. He already told me the last time I saw him 6 months ago that I'm on the bottom of his pile. And I'm like, well, that's a good, you can keep me there. You don't have to bring it up to the top. Just, you can just go away. I'd be fine with that, but they got to do what they got to do. I'm sure he had like some year-end Santa Claus quota or whatever that he had to meet for the end of the year paperwork or whatever before he can go on Christmas break. I don't know. Do they even get Christmas might be the best time to go fuck around when you're on probation, because do these people get a couple days off? I don't know. But I'm not going to do it. I got no interest in that. I just want to get through this. But so, yeah, I mean, so anyway, before I even get to the next batch of there's one more batch of stuff to talk about, and then we're going to get into what I put up as the thumbnail for the video today, the main topic. And I'm going to have to wing that too, because I jotted down a few notes, but I didn't like dig deep. And so, but you know me, I can talk about anything all day long. So, hey, got some more people in the house. Renee, what's up? Haven't seen you in a bit. Good to see you. Alex, John, Blue Sky, all my people in the house. It's fun. We're having a good time. Watch the replay if you want to see what we were talking about earlier. But the plugs. So at the top of the screen, bear with me. I'm winging it today. At the top of the screen, or at the top of the chat, you'll see that I have a pinned chat, links.litgood.com. And so instead of like pasting links into the chat or whatever, if you want to follow me on the other platforms or just help the channel, it's all here. Links.litgood.com will take you to a simple link tree page, and it's just links to everything. We got YouTube, obviously you're here. We got my X profile, which I'm actually digging into this, and I'm actually going to make it grow. I found out the secret sauce to making your X account grow. Probably it'll take me a year, but I have a rhythm to it and I know what to do. So that's where I'm putting some focus aside from YouTube. And it's fun. X is a fun place to be right now. Rumble, I haven't touched. TikTok, I haven't touched since I stopped being homeless. You got my photography website here if you want to check that out. I haven't messed with this for a long time, but it's there. You can see some of my work. And this is my passion. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to be doing at some point in my life. And just, and maybe sitting around bitching about the government on YouTube and getting paid for it. I mean, that seems like a pretty good way to make a living. Take pictures, complain about the government, politics. I mean, it's not like they're going to stop giving me content if that's my career choice. So, it's like I told my daughter wanted to be a psychologist. And when she was younger, I said, look, there's no shortage of crazy people out there. You're going to have customers all day long. You're never going to run out of crazy people. They're going to be coming in the door. Even if you make one turn sane, there's going to be 10 more waiting at the door. You're going to be safe. It's a safe choice. So same thing if you want to sit around bitching about the government all day. They're never going to stop giving us something to talk about. You got Instagram, Facebook. I could care less about either of those right now. You can get free wallpaper for your phones and devices if you go here. I can't even remember the damn URL. But here it is. But you can get like different size wallpapers for your devices, your phones, sized to the most popular devices. The device names are under the, if you sign up for my mailing list, you're going to get a marketing email like maybe once a year at the pace I'm going right now. So yeah, you're going to get, that's about as much spam as you can expect from me. I ain't got time to fill up your mailbox with garbage. So, but it is fun. It is a good way to make sure that when YouTube finally has enough and they're sick of me talking, saying the things I'm not supposed to say, this is a good way to keep in touch. And, I'll have to reach out to the mailing list when they shut my YouTube off. You got my photography store on Etsy. I only got 20 photos on here. I have to do an overhaul on my store. I have to do some SEO, search engine optimization, so that my stuff shows up in search results, and I've got to make my selections a little bit more palatable. You click on one of my photographs here, and I give you all kinds of sizes and options to buy a print from me. But look at this menu. It's like, there's so many different ones, and the price range goes from like $40 all the way up to, what's the most expensive? Oh, $2,000 for a 60-inch by 40-inch metallic piece of metal print that you can hang on your wall. It comes ready to hang. But yeah, those aren't cheap for me to print. I make more money on the markup of a $40 print than I do on a $2,000 wall hanger. So, but I mean, 60 by 40, that's like what, that's like 5 feet by 4 feet. So that's like as tall, that's as wide as I am tall. That's a beast. But and it's going to be sharp. I won't sell a print that size if the image can't support looking sharp at that size. I won't offer it. But this is too much of a, it just doesn't work. Like I got to make it simple for people. So I got an overhaul job to do there. If I can get more sales directly from Etsy instead of having to drive my audience there, that can be supplemental income that will help me through this time. You got my Amazon affiliate link there. If you click on that, if you click on this, and it'll just gonna take you to Amazon. And then if you buy something from Amazon, I'll get a penny. I'll get like 50 cents, something like that. I don't know. They do pay out. I've seen it. So go right now, like test it out. Go to links.litgood.com in your browser, click on the Amazon affiliate link, and I want to see in my statistics. You don't even have to buy anything. I don't care. I just want to see if Amazon registers the clicks that I just told you to click. If I see like 5 clicks, then I'll know that the link is actually doing its job. Then we got the digital chicken bucket, of course. People love to drop funds into there. You know, you might think it's going to go to hookers and blow, but it actually goes to positive things in my life. It can go to anything from groceries to paying bills or whatever. I've had a lot of good synchronicity with this thing over the last year or two. People just randomly drop money in there. And sometimes it's like right when I need it. And it's hilarious how I did not want to do this. I wanted people to buy my art. I didn't want to just sit on the side of the digital highway, the information highway, shaking a digital chicken bucket looking for people to drop their money into it. But a bunch of people yelled at me and told me I was stupid for not doing it, and I finally caved in and it worked out. So it's there. If you want to see my professional work, you can check out my other link tree, which is on this link tree. This is the link tree I would send somebody if I'm looking for a job. Obviously, me in my prison best is not the photograph that I would want to use if I'm trying to get hired at a company. But at this point, does it even matter? It really doesn't. It doesn't seem like I could get a job anywhere. I can't even get DoorDash won't even let me deliver food, but illegal immigrants can deliver food all day for DoorDash. They don't even have to speak English, but they won't let me do it. So whatever. But you can see my resume, my portfolio, prototypes I've built. You can look at code samples. Like I do know how to write some code. Here's a responsive data table that when you collapse the view, it changes to a card-based layout. It has a stacked row layout for that table width, and then when you get to a lot wider width, it spreads out to fill the page. That would be for like a financial website. And then here's all the HTML, here's all the CSS, and there's no JavaScript for that. Another navigation bar where here's what it looks, just a traditional navigation bar that I built for somebody. Your standard drop down menus, but when you shrink it down, you get to a certain point, it turns into a panel based menu. And then when you get down to the width of a phone, which I can't even do without making it complicated, it turns into a phone layout. And this is all the different code that supports that. And so, I got it all. Tons of links. And then I got links to my photography there. Indeed, LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. If you thought Gab was the epicenter of cringe on the internet, they can't even light a candle compared to the awful shit that I see on LinkedIn every day. I can go to LinkedIn and, if I go to my home feed, let's see. Oh God, I'm already out. I can't even look at this shit. It's so stupid. Oh my God, what do we got here? Let me just look for the cringe. Oh my God. No, yeah. Team India. UX is not an entry level job anymore. Okay, great. Thanks. I'm out. That's about as long as I last when I go to that fucking site. It's the worst website on the internet. I might be turning my LinkedIn profile into like a fuck Jerry kind of place. Like I might just become a LinkedIn troll because I hate that freaking website so much. And I know I'm never going to be able to get a job, like a real big boy job again. So who cares? Maybe I can make a bunch of money being the fuck Jerry of LinkedIn till they kick me off the platform for being. But there's some obnoxious douchebags on there talking about, I hate my family because they keep me from working 100 hours a week. Yeah, great, asshole. Go close another deal. So, anyway, where are we at here in the oh my god, I'm losing my place. Um bear with me here. um so yeah, cars. Let's go back to the car. Well, wait a minute. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, so yeah, the plugs. We just did the plugs. That was it for today. Um, all right. So I'm not writing a book. I'm helping a friend of mine, a client of mine, write a book. And I didn't want to do that. It's not I'm supposed to be doing it 100%. I know for sure that this is something I'm supposed to be doing because the synchronicity is off the chart with this thing. While I'm sitting here, I can pull up the book covers and just show you kind of like that. I just got to pull up my infinite whiteboard here while I'm talking, and it takes me a minute to I can't talk and do at the same time sometimes. But um so I'm working on this book today, and hold on, here it is. Is this it? No, where's the best? Okay, so this dude, hold on. Here we go. I will screen share. Okay, am I in the corner? All right, there we go. So this is my infinite whiteboard for this project. I mean, you can see there's a lot of notes on here going back months, and you can like really zoom in on stuff. And I'm not going to like give away too much, but you can like you can see how far I was zoomed out, and you can zoom all the way in and then all the way out. So there's notes. There's a year worth of notes on this freaking board. So if I go over here, these are the book covers that these are the design of the book covers so far, um, of the books that I'm helping him with. And so this first one here, Charged by Choice, which that we actually might have a better title for this. Lone Star Awakening, it might actually. It's about his life story when he moved to Texas when he was really young, and he had a crazy experience. And I don't want to give away anything, but this is a crazy book. It's basically his life story. The second book is about the philosophy of his life that came from the experience that he had in the first book. And then the third book is about how it's basically calls it the law of consumption, and how food, your thoughts, and your environment shape your life, and how when you consume horrible food, horrible thoughts, and you are surrounded by a horrible environment, you can't expect to, you are what you eat. They say if you eat nothing but McDonald's, you're going to be McDonald's. So you're going to become a Big Mac. You're going to be a quarter pounder with cheese. And so this book here is the one I'm focused on right now. So I'm going to read you a small snippet, because today there was some crazy synchronicity with this, and I'm helping him. So there's a part that I added because it fit, and he's going to love it. When he reads this little tweak that I made to this section here, he is going to be off his rocker because he's going to think it's great. So anyway, he's talking about love and fear are the two polar opposite forces that shape and power everything around us, and neither one of them by themselves are necessarily bad. Fear is basically, it's a lot of it's about not living in fear and choosing love, and that it's a choice. And I talk about Yoda, Jedi Master Yoda all the time. I have that. That's my favorite slide right here. What does Jedi Master Yoda say all the time? Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. And that is pretty much the that's pretty much the summary of what happened to me and what led down that's basically how my life fell apart in a nutshell. Pretty much the same as Anakin Skywalker. If I was strong with the Force. I was very strong with the Force. And I got cocky, and then there you go. And I was full of hate, full of anger. It led to suffering. And boom. I mean, Yoda was right. So I'm just going to read this snippet, and it's going to have part of what it's going to stop right where I had to stop today, and then I'll get into it. It's love in its ultimate sense has no opposites. It is not an emotion that comes and goes. It is the unchanging ground of being, the ocean beneath all the waves. Human love is the wave. Beautiful, conditional, and sometimes stormy. Divine love, or what I've simply learned to call love to avoid every religious trigger, is the ocean, eternal, impersonal, and already present. It's always there. The game of our lifetime is to let the wave of personal love arise inside the ocean that is never threatened by what's going on the surface. The ocean is deep. The ocean don't give a crap about the waves that are going on top of it. But if you're in the wrong size boat, you might be in some deep shit if those waves get too big. But the ocean don't care. It's always there. And the waves at the top don't do anything to the fish at the bottom. They don't even notice it. Fear is the only thing that appears to separate us from that ocean, yet the discomfort caused by the fear is the only thing capable of returning us to it. And so he has this metaphor that just like a battery, the outgoing charge and the return charge are on the same current. Separation and return. Sin, which is just missing the mark, and redemption. Death and resurrection. It's all electricity doing what electricity does. It flows. So when you live this way, when fear becomes Teflon instead of Velcro, when you greet every constriction from separation with curiosity, welcoming it instead of judging it, you discover something astonishing. You do not have to wait for heaven. You become the temple of I am love. Your body is the temple of choice, which is love, or the temple of chance, which is fear. And he has this phrase that he uses all the time: life is choice. It's a skill to live in the temple of choice, and we call that mindfulness. And it's a choice to live in the temple of chance, which is chaos and corruption. Your choices will change you positively or negatively. And even the band Rush already told us, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Not making a choice is just like playing Russian roulette, leaving your life to chance, not skill. Choosing love over fear is the core skill of experiential philosophy, the authentic intelligence within you. I will choose free will. So I was reading his whole thing, and he made this comment in his, this is the end of his book. This is like the afterword. So I'm like this close to the freaking finish line with this book. I can't wait. But I'm having a good time with it. Don't take my comment there as negative. I'm ready to hand it back to there's another editor involved who's a traditional author editor. And I'm like, thank you, but I'm doing a good job with my part. But he had this part, and he said, not making a choice is just like playing Russian roulette, leaving your life to chance, not skill. And he's basically saying that you're always making a choice. I'm missing something, because he said, I'm going to have to go back into my thing, but he basically said, not making a choice is still making a choice. And I'm like, that's what Rush said. That song came right into my head. So I added the quote from the band Rush to his copy here. When he sees it, he's just going to be like, dude, he's going to love that reference. I will choose free will. I will choose free will. He's going to get that right. He likes rock. He's a rocker. He's going to love that. He's going to love that. So, anyway, I was like clapping. I was like, yeah, good job. I was all excited when I came up with that. It hit me. And so I was like, yeah, that's going to be a good one. And I've made a few other I've knocked his, I've done some other stuff like that through his book. Just little tweaks. I'm not changing what he's writing. I'm just, I'm an editor. So I'm editing. That's what it is. I'm just tweaking it to make it a little better. Fixing grammar and, punctuation and stuff like that too. But as soon as I realized like this life is choice thing that my friend keeps saying, hearing the Rush song in my head, a whole bunch of stuff clicked for me that I'm dealing with right now. Like 20 different problems that I'm dealing with and things that I'm like pondering and things that are on my mind were just like bang, 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 bang. Right after I did that. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I'm telling you, 30 seconds after I did this, I get a phone call saying that my car is finished. Finally, after 2 months, they fixed my car. And so I'm like, okay, so I have to walk 2 miles to go get my car. And so I'm like, the synchronicity of my car being finished that I've been dealing with for 2 straight months of nonsense with this car, knowing that I had to pick it up, I'm like, I need to check out Strava because I've been putting in some miles on the bicycle. And where is it? Here it is. I wanted to see if I was really close to getting my miles for the year to 4,000. And whoops, we're back. I'm at 3,947.5 miles this year. I am under 50 miles now I'm wrong. I'm 52-ish miles away from getting 4,000 miles for the year. As you can see, October didn't help. If I click on the miles, I was 141 miles, February 484, March 589. That's the big one. 530 for April. That was no slouch either. 400 a month, generally speaking. And then October was like, you know what? I'm done. November, one day. I rode my bike one day in November. And December, I went on a walk a couple times and rode my bike twice. And now I am one bicycle ride away to and from this bakery as long as I go the longest route that I can go. Because there's 2 different ways I can go. One's 25 miles, one's 18 miles. If I go 25 to and from, like, let's just say I do this on Saturday, that is either going to say 4,000 miles or it's going to be so freaking close that I've still got a week, almost 2 weeks. We're days short of 2 weeks to be able to get one more thing. And so I'm like literally I'm one day at the bakery on my bicycle away from 4,000 miles. So if I don't do it, that's pretty sad. If I don't do it, that's pretty sad. That's all I'm going to say. I'm so close to the end. I have to do it. You can't be that close to a 4,000 mile goal. It wasn't even really my goal was 2,000 miles. So if I double my goal by doing 4,000, that's pretty bad. That's pretty badass. I am a certified BAMF. I know I told the story about how I was riding my bike one morning. It was like 6 a.m. Some guy pulls up to me in a pickup truck and he rolls down his window. He's like, man, I just want to tell you, you're a badass motherfucker. And I was like, all right, man, thanks. You have a good day. Certified BAMF right there. BAMF. So anyway, I got my car back. I walked the 2 miles, recorded that shit on Strava with my GPS tracker, and I'm 2 miles closer to the end, and my car started. And let's see what else. So with the car, I promise I'm getting to the topic of tonight's broadcast. But you always want the updates about what's going on, and it's been a wild ride these last couple of weeks, and I guarantee you the next couple of weeks are just going to be crazy too. I have no there's some things going on that I just need to I don't even know, man. It's a wild ride right now. It is a wild ride. With the car or so with this car situation, AI, I use AI for lots of things now. I just have conversations with Grok all the time if I need. It helps you sort out your thoughts and it helps you get information without having to do the research yourself. I mean, we're all using it now. I'm not opposed to using AI. So when it came to the car stuff, Grok suggested applying for the credit cards that they have for the auto garages, where you can only use them at an auto garage. You can't it's not a regular credit card. And so I applied for one and they gave me $500 in credit, 6 months interest free to put towards my auto repair, which means I didn't have to drain my bank account to do it just yet. And so does my car have a name? I don't know. Shitty bang bang sounds about right. Right. But maybe I don't know. Let's see in a month or two if I'm in a better mood about this thing. Because right now I'm not a fan of Volkswagen. I shouldn't have bought a Hitler mobile. I mean, history shows I should have stayed away from that. But anyway, I have named vehicles in the past, but all my Jeeps had a name. I had Lady Liberty. I had Bumble Jeep. I had, what was the blue one called? Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters. Well, yeah, Muddy Waters was named after we got my Jeep Cherokee stuck up to the door handles in mud on the opposite side of a creek, and we had to get a bunch of hillbillies to tow it out after walking through a 2-mile long train tunnel to find a bar. And that's another story for another day. But yeah, we named it Muddy Waters. Let's see. What other vehicles? Oh, Crazy Taxi was my bright yellow Mini Cooper. My sister picked that name out. What other vehicles had names? God's car. The 1984 Toyota Tercel that I got donated to me from a church because I could drive a stick shift and they couldn't get rid of it. That was called God's car. We're going to take God's car to the grocery store. So I don't know. There's been more. But I got approved for credit for the first time since I got out the joint. I tried to get an auto loan a year ago, and they were like, hell no. I don't even think the buy here, pay here places would give me a loan. Or if they did, it would have been like a $6,000 a month payment for a $2,000 jalopy. But with a GPS tracker on it and everything else. But no, Capital One. I applied for a loan when this car crap was going on, just to test the waters because I had the loan from them before and I paid it off. And they approved me this time. I did it a year ago. They were like, hell no. But last week they were like, all right, yeah, we'll hook you up. The interest rate, you're going to hate it. You better buy a cheap car. You're going to be suffering with a huge car payment. But so I have it on the table. I have a pre-approval from them if I want to exercise that option. I don't, but it's kind of like it's good to know that I have options for credit now. Not that I want to be in debt, but it tells me that my life is coming back together because all the loan sharks are circling the water because they see chum. They a new bucket of chum was dropped in the ocean. All the sharks are like, oh, let's get them, let's get them. So, but they didn't want to give me the time of day a year ago, not at all. So something happened in the last year that, because I defaulted on I had like 20 different credit cards when I went to jail, and I had racked up about $10,000 of debt after I got fired for not taking the COVID scam shot. There you go, YouTube. Throttle my channel because I called COVID a scam again, but it was. And I got fired from a remote job because I wouldn't take the shot. It wasn't even a job I had to go into an office for. These fucking retards would show up to the Zoom meetings wearing their stupid masks just to virtue signal and I'm a good boy. I wear my mask. Fuck you, man. I hated those people. I used to be friends with them, and well, not friends, but like they were good people to work with until that. Ugh, and I hate them. Now, I would never talk to any of those people ever again after that. But so anyway, that happened. I got fired and I suffered for like 5 months after that, and they wouldn't give me unemployment. So I was living off plastic, using a credit card to pay every bill. And all of a sudden I was like $10,000 in debt. But when I got arrested, I had already paid off 6,000 of it, and I was still 4,000 in debt. I don't carry balances on credit cards. I use them when I need to, and then I pay them off immediately so I don't pay interest, and I keep my utilization down. And, I was playing the game well, but I got into a jam. But when I went to prison, I had 4,000 worth of credit cards. How are you going to make your credit card payments when you're in the joint? You can't. And so that shit hit me hard when I came home. Couldn't do nothing. And it's going to follow me for years. But I see some light at the end of the tunnel just because of this car trouble and the fact that I was like, well, let's see what they do. I was just like, when the little thing goes, we're processing your application, I'm like, well, come on, show me the screen that says, sorry, we could not approve you at this time. And then boom, it shows up, you're approved. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. All right. I think I have a Kohl's card that never got closed because I never had a balance on it. I would buy clothes and I'd pay for them because you get all the discounts and crap, and I would just pay it off at the end of the month. I think I could go get my Kohl's card back or reopened maybe because I never like defaulted that one. I don't know, but I don't need clothes, so I don't even care right now. But getting back to the car, I mean, I got my car. I went and picked it up today. I drove to the grocery store, got me some TP. Thank God, because I was down to like 2 rolls and one bad Taco Tuesday away from a bad scene. And but now we're good. We're back. So got to go to the grocery store. Went to the car wash. I was afraid to go into the car wash because I thought that the water from the car wash would short out all the electronics on this car again. That's how paranoid I am about this freaking car now. I'm like, well, I want a clean car, but water and electronics don't get along. What's going to happen? But it was fine. I got the car washed. I put some gas in the tank. The car started when I picked it up. The car started when I went to the grocery store, and I was able to come home. I guess we're going to have to wait and see from there. The next time I have to go into the bakery will be Saturday, and I will definitely be awake at least 2 hours before I got to leave and go on out there and making sure the car starts. And I'm waiting for that first cold night to see if the car starts. Even if as long as it starts and it's drivable, even if the thing's falling apart, I don't care. If it gets me where I gotta go, that's pretty much what I bought it for. So whatever. Um, yeah, John says my coworker just got her Audi A5 fixed. Lots of electronics issues. She's trading it in for a Toyota. Even the Toyotas suck now. All these new cars. Boom! You just hit my next topic with that. You can't trust a car anymore. They're all just a bunch of electronic nightmares now. Like buying a Tesla. If you buy a Tesla, you need to get rid of that thing the day before the warranty expires, or you're screwed. You need to replace a battery. They were trying to sell the smart cars on Carvana a year ago, and they were selling these things for like $9,000. The electronic smart car. These smart cars are so ugly and stupid. I feel safer riding a bicycle on the streets of Houston than I would ever feel driving one of those little smart cars around here. I'm safer on a bicycle. If I got into a collision with a smart car with a bicycle, the bicycle might actually come out on top. But you can't trust these cars anymore. These Teslas, first of all, anything you need done to a Tesla, the only person that can fix that car is the Tesla dealership. You're going to get held hostage and pay whatever price, whatever. You're going to pay twice as much as the car cost, MSRP, just to get it fixed twice. It's crazy. Why would you even buy one of those? I don't even know. Angel, you say you found a copy of Jesus Calling. Like you found it, just randomly found it. Like that was Jesus handing that to you. I got a free copy of that book when I was in the joint. I had to trade a pack of granola with another inmate to get my hands on it, but I gave it as a gift when I came home to my ex. And then I was like, I should have taken it back. I should have grabbed it on my way out the door. But you know, whatever. I'm sure she don't care about it. You got to throw someone out into the street to be homeless. You don't have Jesus in your heart. But we're talking about cars. And, you got this right to repair thing going on now where the auto companies are like, they're not even making cars that can be fixed anymore. All the mechanics are like, I'm out. I don't want to do this crap anymore. But, cars have not always been reliable, even when they were fully mechanical. Back in the 70s and the 80s, you could not expect a car to last 100,000 miles. Like 70,000 is when you're like, oh, we got to get rid of this thing before it blows up. And then in like the mid 90s, cars started to get really reliable. Toyotas and Hondas are getting 300,000 miles and almost no maintenance. But now 2025, they're back down to where we were in the 70s, except now you got to pay $100 for a Ford F-150, $100,000 for a Ford F-150 that's going to fall apart after 40,000 miles. It's going to need a new transmission because they're such fucking garbage now. And it's like, when I was young, $100,000 for a car, that was like a Lamborghini. That was a Ferrari. That was a Lamborghini Countach. That was a Ferrari Testarossa. That was like big balla playa car. Now it's a fucking pickup truck on the farm. What the fuck is going on with this shit? You got to take out a mortgage now to buy a truck. $100,000 for a Ford F-150. Are you out of your fucking mind, Ford? Seriously, what's going on with that? What is wrong with this world that we live in? And now you see Toyota knows what's going on. And I don't know if you've seen it. Shit, I'm going to look it up. Once again, I can't do this and talk at the same time, but boom, I'll just pull up this. Boom, here we go. We got the news article. Share the screen. Toyota's $10,000 pickup truck is basic transportation perfection. Look at this. This is a bomb-ass pickup truck. And it comes in all these... This is like the Jeep Wrangler of pickup trucks, man. This thing looks awesome. My Jeep Wrangler was the most basic bitch Jeep Wrangler you could buy. It had the hand crank windows, manual locks that you had to, like, if you had to roll down the passenger side window, I would have to lean over while I'm driving and crank the freaking crank to get the window to go down. That's what I wanted. Why? Because Jeep forgot how to make window motors. Every window on my Jeep Liberty had problems and the window motors constantly broke. So I'm like, forget that. They've had 100 and something years to figure out how to make window motors. But now Toyota's got a $10,000 pickup truck. The bare bones, basic, reliable, probably reliable like Toyota reliability baked into this thing. A basic look at, oh, there's the camper version right there. Oh my God, that's way better than the camper pickup truck that I was rolling around in. Get a 4-wheel drive one of these things. Boom, game over. And you pay $10,000 for a brand new truck like that. You can customize the living hell out of that thing. Look at the length of the bed on that. You can put a camper on top of that. This thing's awesome. $10,000. But are we going to see it in America? No. They're not going to let us have this. They will not. They're selling it in all the countries on earth except the United States because the United States laws won't let them sell it here because of all the bullshit it's just like you can't get a Toyota Hilux in the United States. I'm so sick of these government assholes. Yeah, Angel. Exactly. I'm sick of these government scumbags. We're never going to be able to buy an affordable pickup. We got to pay $100,000 for a piece of garbage Ford F-150 that's not even going to last 50,000 miles because we can't get the $10,000 rugged Toyota pickup truck that'll never die. Why? Because the government is bought and paid for by the same crooked big industry scumbags, which include the auto industry, and they're never going to let us have anything like that. And so, I mean, that leads right into the topic of the day, and that is, how do you know if you're in a cult? Right? How do you know if you're in a cult? I always talk about, because the Republicans aren't going to fix this problem and the Democrats aren't going to fix this problem. Why? Because they're on the same team. This whole thing about there's a difference between them is a bunch of bullshit that they feed you with to pretend that there's a difference so that you think that you're on a team and that you have a say in anything, while these people go behind the curtain and to the private parties and clink their champagne glasses together and laugh at all of us dumbass peasants because we let them screw us over every day. And so when I've been saying this for years. I woke up in 1996. I've told the story. If you go to my channel and you go to the Synchronicity series, it's like the second Synchronicity video in that series on my channel, talking about when I woke up in 1996 because I knew a woman who died on TWA Flight 800. Before that event, I didn't know anything about politics, didn't care. Couldn't tell you who the vice president was. Definitely didn't know the mayor's name or the governor's name. Didn't care. I was in art school. I cared about art, beer, women, weed. 1, 2, 3. That covers it. Yeah, those are the 4 things I cared about back then. And so, but after I knew somebody who died on TWA Flight 800 and I watched this unfold, it woke me up, and I was paying I was only paying attention to the story as it unfolded over the subsequent months and years because it grabbed my attention because I knew somebody who died on the plane. And that led down this rabbit hole of waking up. But I will always credit that for the thing that started it all. It was the little snowball at the top of the hill that got a nudge and it started rolling down the mountain and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And now here we are today. And so I talk about all the time, we got 4 different kinds of people. And I'm gonna have to put this in my slide deck, but I didn't have time. You got people who are completely ignorant. I was in that bracket. I just said I was the ignorant one. And I moved through the different quadrants of this thing. I was never a Democrat, never a Democrat. So we can just cross that one off. But I was the guy who didn't know anything and didn't give a crap and just was ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Who cares? They're all a bunch of dirt bags. They're all corrupt. Why bother giving a crap about, why bother voting, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I'm tired. The next group of people on the opposite corner, if we were talking like one's up here and the other one's down here, the ones down here are the ones that are completely wide awake. They also know that the whole system is rigged and that they're nothing but a bunch of crooks and everything else. But they're awake and they can tell you all the details and they can tell you all the names and they can tell you all the players and the history and the dates and all that. That's me now. I went from the ignorant corner to the other corner down here of being wide awake. But I took the path of the Republican Party to get there. And that was mainly because when I started waking up, Bill Clinton and his wife were the president. And so I started to see all the corruption going on with the Democrats. And I think, the 2 things that stand out to me during that time were I started going to like political gatherings of sorts. And this was back before the internet. There was no YouTube. There was no video on the internet. The internet was like a couple of crappy websites and an AOL chat. At these gatherings, there'd be a table in the back room. There'd be a guest speaker, maybe a movie. I don't know, but there'd be a table at the back room covered in VHS tapes and stuff to buy. And so I bought Waco, The Rules of Engagement, a documentary about the Waco siege. That's like one of the most mind-blowing things you would ever see in your life. I showed that video to groups of 20 plus people at my friend's apartment. And everybody in the room, guys and girls at the end of that movie, had tears pouring down their face because it's so powerful and it's true. It tells you everything. It tells you the truth about it. You can't watch that documentary and not know the truth about what happened. And it's sad. Like the FBI showed up and killed all those people. They burned them alive. They started the fire. They burned the place to the ground. They shot anybody who tried to escape. They burned those women, children, all of them alive. You wonder why I don't like the FBI very much. Started there. And then I got this thing called the Clinton Chronicle. The fucking Clinton. It was the Clinton body count. I think it was called the Clinton Chronicles, but it was basically the Clinton body count. And it's about all the dead people that, shoot themselves twice in the back of the head and it's a suicide, all that shit. And there were dozens. I mean, this is a 2-hour long video of just this person committed suicide. This person committed suicide. This person strapped themselves to a railroad track and tied themselves up and waited for a train to come run them over. Suicide. Like all this crazy shit. And then I had to get the Clinton body count 2nd edition because they killed so many more people. They had to make another fucking movie. they had to like add another hour to the end of the movie because they just killed 50 more people. These fucking dirtbags, these fucking scumbag Clintons killed so many people back in the day and it wasn't like YouTube. YouTube, you could just make a new video and upload it again, part 3. But back then, this was like VHS tapes. They had to be made at a factory and the box had to be designed and it had to go to a printing press and they had to, this was some work. And so now I had to go out and I had to get the Clinton body count, the 3rd edition, because they killed like 20 more fucking people. And now there's another video. I'm like, shit. When is this asshole going to be gone so I can stop having to buy the Clinton body count videos? They're up to like the 8th edition now. And so, oh my God, I was so hold on, Angel. This is what I'm getting at. Like, they got to ditch Pam Bondi, okay? How many attorney generals has Donald Trump hired since he became president? He had Bill Barbie. Well, no, Bill Barbie is Pam Bondi. Hold on. I've got a meme for this. I'm not even going to, I wasn't prepared for this one, but no. Donald Trump has hired 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different attorney generals since he's been president, either his first term or he hasn't hired one that wasn't a complete piece of shit. So you think if we get rid of Pam Bondi, he's going to put a good one in there? No, he's not. The game is to run out the clock. For somebody whose trademark phrase is "you're fired," he is the worst fucking hiring manager I've ever seen in my life. He makes the worst. I've never seen somebody hire bigger turds than him. He's a worthless sack of shit. I cannot stand that guy anymore. And I'm not Trump derangement syndrome. I'm just calling it out. So that leads to the 4 types of people we talked about: the ignorant people who don't care, and the people who are wide awake and they see what it is. You ask me why I don't want to vote. Well, like, that's like saying, do you want to participate in a taste test to see whether a bowl of dog shit tastes better than a bowl of cat turds? And why? I'm just going to stay home. Like, I don't need to know. They both taste like shit. And that's what voting is. So why do I want to go? I don't want to go to that. I'm going to sit home and watch fucking, I would rather watch cartoons than go vote. I would rather sit at home. I would rather watch, I'd rather watch Star Wars. I would rather there's a million things. I'd rather vacuum my house. I'd rather wash dishes than vote. Washing my dishes will have a bigger impact on my life than voting for some piece of shit that's going to take a dump all over us as soon as they get into office. So that's where I'm at. So now you got the other 2 crowds. You got Republicans and you got Democrats. And I've been saying for a long time, especially since Trump took over again, there's no difference. This picture says it all right here. Boom. Oops. Boom. Right there. There's no difference between a MAGA hat and a COVID mask. They're the same thing. They're just a symbol that you wear out in public so that everybody knows what team you're on. But the problem with these retards, these Democrat and Republican idiots that just pick one side and ignore the other, it's that whole thing out of scripture where, I bet I don't have it. I probably don't. I don't know. I'm going to go through my scripture slides. Nope. So anyway, like I said, I'm not 100% prepared for today, but it's like that parable when Jesus talked about you have no problem pointing out the splinter in the other person's eye, but you ignore the plank in your own eye. And that's exactly what Democrats and Republicans do, especially these mask. I mean, you know how many people a day? It's 2025. And every time I go outside this door in Texas, I see these retards walking around with the COVID mask on their face. They're still falling for that scam. And at this point, it's not about a disease. It's about wearing a thing on your face so that everybody looks at you and goes, oh, he hates Trump. That's all that is. I saw at least 4 in the grocery store today. And whatever. You be you. I'm not going to start a fight. But anyway, I'm kind of going to bounce around on this topic because I just can't stand. The thing about these cult members is the MAGA hat, the red hat retards will, anything Donald Trump says, anything Donald Trump does is golden. Donald Trump says we're going to go after the Epstein Island pedophiles. MAGA hats. Yay! Yay! We're going to get them. Then Donald Trump says, what Epstein files? Why are we still talking about those Epstein files? Why don't we just move on? We don't have time to be dealing with that. And these red hat retards are like, yay, Trump! Yay! Let the pedophiles rape the kids. They're cool with it now. Why? Because Donald Trump said it's cool now to rape kids on a private island. We're not going to go after them. We're good. Dan Bongino, the biggest fucking turd I've ever seen in my life, talking on his podcast all day about we're going to go after these deep state scumbags. Well, if anybody was in a position to do something about it, being the deputy director of the FBI might have been a good place to do that. And what does this fucking dude do? He gets on TV in a fucking interview looking like a deer in the headlights saying, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have any clients. The deep state are good. They're good people. We're not going to do anything to them. I was completely wrong. It's like, did the deep state call you up before you went on Fox News that day and say, we're going to kill you and your whole family? We're going to watch while we kill your family in front of you, and then we're going to kill you if you talk about the Epstein files and say that he killed him, didn't kill himself? Because him and Kash Patel looked like they were drugged and beaten and told what they were going to say. Like, they're scum. All of these people. You notice how the left, the Democrats, don't have any problem with Pam Bondi. Have you ever heard a Democrat make one complaint about Pam Bondi? None. They love her. Why? Because she's not doing anything. She went on Fox News another 50 times last week. All that bitch is doing, blonde bimbo. The only thing that blonde bimbo is up to is she's on Fox News every day because when she has to resign from her job, she's probably already got it lined up to get her own Info Bimbo TV show on Fox News. She's going to have her own show. It'll be at like 10 o'clock at night when nobody's watching, and she'll probably get like 100 viewers. And because my YouTube channel gets more viewers than some of these fucking news people do anymore. Get some of that orange juice. Anyway. But no, the Democrats and the Republicans. The MAGA hat guy here, the cult member, he's in a cult. He can tell you every bad thing every Democrat ever did, but no Republican has ever done anything wrong. And the same thing with the person wearing the mask. She can tell you every bad thing Donald Trump ever did, every bad thing every Republican ever did, but Dr. Fauci could do no wrong. You know, we've got RFK, the guy who's in charge of America's health now. And we had that guy from the Campbell Soup, that executive at Campbell Soup that was like, oh, fuck that garbage. It's a bunch of processed 3D printed garbage meat for poor people. I don't eat that shit. Democrats didn't have a problem with that. Crickets. RFK comes out and says, we want our children to eat healthy meals. Oh, fuck him. He's a fascist piece of shit. He's a fascist piece of shit for saying he wants your kids to eat healthy food. Why? Because he's not a Democrat anymore, so he's a piece of shit for saying he wants you to eat healthy. What the fuck? That means you're in a fucking cult at this point. Somebody says, I want your kids to eat healthy, and you call him a fascist piece of shit for that? So I can't stand these people. I cannot stand Democrats and Republicans. It all goes back to a pastor, Pastor Rock from Allegheny Center Alliance Church in Pittsburgh. This guy was off the chain. My favorite preacher of all time. This guy was no joke. He did not care. He did not care. He would say whatever God told him to say. He had no fucks to give. He didn't say it like that. I don't think he's ever said a swear word in his life, but he had no fucks to give. He would say it like it is. And he gave a sermon one day. I'll never forget it because I was in it. And I was sitting there watching, and he said, people ask me all the time, is Jesus a Republican or a Democrat? And he rolls his eyes and he's like, you don't even get the point. You know, Jesus would not be a Republican because Jesus doesn't believe in being selfish and hoarding all the wealth for yourself and having all, 99% of the world's wealth held by 1% of the people and all the different things that the Republicans do. He went off on a tirade. And then he was like, but Jesus wouldn't be a Democrat because he doesn't want you to be a lazy piece of shit who sits on a couch all day waiting for a government handout. And he doesn't want you running around in he doesn't want you to cut your pee off and run around in a dress and telling everybody you're a girl, having to use the girls' bathroom at Target and telling everybody they got to believe you because you say you're a girl now. It's like Jesus isn't going to be a Republican or a Democrat. And he just went off. He just went off. And I was like, what? That was one of the craziest sermons I ever saw him give. And this dude was no holds barred. I loved him. I love the guy. He was my favorite preacher of all time. He's retired. He's not the head pastor at that church anymore. I don't even think I would go to that church anymore. I think it's changed a lot since he left. But no, the left and the right, the people who firmly attach themselves to one side or the other are just blind as they're the most retarded of all. We can say the word now. Joe Rogan says it's okay. Elon Musk says it's okay. Donald Trump says it's okay. Retard is back, so they're retarded. So I'm cool with that because I don't handicapped people are one thing. If somebody has a disability and they're born with a disability that they have no control over, they can't walk, they don't have any motor function or whatever, I don't consider that to be retarded. What the word means is you were born with all of God's gifts, the ability to speak, the ability to walk and talk and do everything and learn and absorb knowledge. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with your body, but you choose to be a fucking retard. That's what a retard. That's what the definition is to me. So Democrats and Republicans, they're retards. Can't stand them. I keep them at arm's length. I can spot them a mile away because they always do the same thing. If I'm in a room with a couple of Republicans, they're all like, ha, ha, ha. You remember what Hillary Clinton did? The Clinton body count? Donald Trump says Hillary's going to jail. And I'm like, okay, well, what about what George Bush did? Remember when George Bush did this or that? Remember when they tortured people in Iraq? Remember when they sent the military to protect his dad's poppy fields in Afghanistan? You remember, they just look at me like a deer in the headlights, like, oh, you're not one of us. No shit, I'm not one of you. But they're trying to like sell me. They're like the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on my door trying to convert me to being a Republican. I'm like, I'm beyond that shit, dude. Just go away. I'm not reading your book. I'm not buying your cross or whatever. We're done here. Get out of here. Same thing with the Democrats. They'll be like, look at what George Bush did today. Look at the stupid thing George Bush did today. Look at that. Donald Trump slipped and fell, or, like whatever. But then I'll be like, what about what Obama did? What about the fact that Obama can't talk unless he has a teleprompter in front of him? And as soon as you shut the stupid thing off, all he does is well, I did know what I was going to say, but they turned the teleprompter off and I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. And so, yeah, like, well, but we can't talk about that because because we can only talk about what Republicans did wrong. So I cannot stand that shit from either side. But a lot of you had me pegged as a Trump supporter because, I was homeless during the lead up to the election. And I thought it was an obvious. I didn't vote. I can't vote. I wouldn't have voted. I didn't give a shit. But there was an obvious difference between the two retarded ass candidates that we had to pick from. They said Kamala Harris is writing a book now. I'm like, that bitch couldn't even write a children's book. She's right. Kamala Harris is writing a book. She couldn't even write a book for a preschooler, let alone a book. The book deal, that's a scam. That's one of the biggest scams and swindles in Congress right now. You get a book deal when you do a bunch of favors. It's a bribe, it's a legalized bribe. They give you $50 million to write a book, and then they have a writer write the book for you. They take a picture of you, they put your name on the front cover. You sign off and say, yeah, it looks like something I would have wrote if I knew how to write a book. And there you go. Kamala Harris has a new book out. She has to show up to sign her name on a few books at a couple of bookstores. And, she gets all this money, and there's all this money flying around. And then the book company buys all the copies of the book so that it gets on the New York Times bestseller list because nobody actually bought the book. And then all the books end up in Goodwill 3 weeks later for 50 cents. So, man, I don't have any notes. I'm just going off whatever comes to my mind today on this topic, but I can go all day because it's just the hypocrisy of both sides of the fence. It's just nonstop, and I've been feeling it. Put it this way, when George Bush was president, everybody called me. When I was president, or when George Bush was president for 8 years, everybody called me a communist, Democrat, socialist, hippie, whatever. And then when Barack Obama was president for 8 years, everybody called me a Nazi, fascist, Republican, hillbilly, retarded ass dipshit. And it's because I would just talk shit about when George Bush was president. I talked shit about him for 8 straight years, about how him and his dad were in Skull and Bones, and so was John Kerry, and all the secret societies, and how his dad used to run the CIA, and how John Hinckley tried to shoot Ronald Reagan, and the Hinkleys had just had dinners with the Bushes like 2 nights ago, and John Hinckley was found with a private number of George Bush in his pocket, and all these different things. And but then when Barack Obama was president, I talked about all the stuff with him, like his birth certificate. I downloaded it when Barack Obama put his fucking birth certificate on the White House website. I downloaded it at work, and I'm a graphic designer, and I opened it up in Acrobat, and then I pulled it into Illustrator and Photoshop, and I gathered everybody around my desk from the whole marketing team, 25 people, and I'm like, look at this. And I just start moving things around, and I'm like, this whole thing is fake. It was somebody did a chop job in Photoshop on that fucking birth certificate and forgot to flatten the file. So all the different layers were still there. Like flatten image is the appropriate thing to do before you go and fake your birth certificate if you're the president and you're going to put that shit up on the White House website. But he had a crappy ass graphic designer that didn't even flatten the file. So all the layers where they changed all the numbers and all the information and stuck his name in there and all that crap. I sit there and I'm like, look at this. White House website, download, open file. And then I'm like, here, I can take his name and I can move it over here and see what's under there and all this and that. And I did it right in front of 25 people. And they're all just sitting there with their jaw dropped. And then like a week later, Adam's the tinfoil hat nut job conspiracy theorist again. What the fuck is a conspiracy theory when I downloaded the thing from the White House website and I started moving all the shit around? If it was a scan of a document, you shouldn't be able to just drag and drop all the shit all over the place. That's how it works when you're doing a fake document in Photoshop. You have the Barack Obama name on a layer and you move it where it's supposed to go, and then you cover up what was underneath, and you fudge things and you change those numbers and you fudge this thing and you fudge that thing, and then you hit flatten image, save as JPEG or save as PDF or whatever. But you don't save the master file. They saved the master file, and anybody who downloaded it could fucking do that. And then it's like people saw me do it. And then like 2 weeks later, Adam's a tinfoil hat nut job conspiracy theorist again. Like, what the fuck do you need? So it didn't matter. Whoever was president, I talk shit about them. All of a sudden, I'm friends with the Democrats, and the Republicans hate me now. And then we get a different president, and now all the Republicans are my friends and all the Democrats hate me because they're in a fucking cult. Because they're in a cult. And that is exactly what happens when you're in a damn cult. If you don't drink the Kool-Aid. If you don't drink the Kool-Aid, you don't really get to leave the cult. They're just going to take you out. And so I've got one good example about if you remember, because when the people in your cult do something that would be considered bad taste or something you shouldn't do, it's cool if it's somebody in your own cult, right? But if somebody in the other cult, the enemy cult, does something that's distasteful and disgraceful and whatever, well, then they're horrible people. They're horrible pieces of shit for doing that. And so I'm sure you remember Charlie Kirk. We saw him get shot in the neck from 25 different angles on YouTube and bleed out on stage, and all the weird shit going on ever since. But remember how many Democrats were out there cheering for it and posting like hooray, and people were just completely people were thrilled. The Democrats were thrilled watching him die. What a piece of shit. He deserved to die. Fuck him. And how the Republicans are on their high horse saying, how could you say such a horrible thing about that man? He's a human being. And you're cheering the death of a fellow human being. You people are scum. Right? I mean, this wasn't that long ago. I'm sure you all remember. Well, just last week, once again, remember how I said the only thing Donald Trump ever fucking does is sit on the internet bitching about shit. Here we go. Donald Trump. Fresh tweets. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, and with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. So, right, what was it? Fucking 3 weeks after you're not supposed to troll a dead guy, the fucking president of the United States is on his shitty ass Twitter site posting a troll post about a dead guy when all the fucking Republicans just got done telling us that that's wrong to do. How could you say such a thing about somebody who just died? You're scum. I can't believe you would say such a thing about somebody that just died. How could you say something about that? And now the fucking Republicans are doing it. The president of the United States just did the same fucking shit that all the Democrats were doing when Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. After all the Republicans said that's disgraceful. Now Donald Trump is trolling the dead because he was just a dead Democrat with Trump derangement syndrome. He obviously deserved it. Fuck him. And then all I see is the MAGA cult, because now I'm on X. And so I see the fucking MAGA cult nonstop posting shit like this. Just a PSA. I do not feel bad about Trump's post. It wasn't something I would have typed out, and it was in bad taste for me. But I don't blame him after what they did to him and Charlie, especially Charlie. I will never forget this. The left has no moral compass or superiority, and neither do the fucking Republicans. If RFK told everybody to go out and put a fucking mask on your face to go out in public, stay 6 feet apart, follow the fucking arrows on the grocery store floor, and all of that retarded ass shit, all the MAGA people would be wearing a COVID mask, and all the Democrats would take the mask off their face tomorrow. They'd be wearing a red retard hat with a COVID mask on their face and going out in public walking around with their guns and their fucking hillbilly pickup trucks with the American flag on the back window and the bald eagle and the come and take it flag and all that, but they'd be wearing the masks. If Donald Trump told them to wear a mask, the Democrats would take off their masks. I'd never see another Democrat in Texas wearing a mask on their face if Trump told everybody to wear a mask and it was RFK's decision. But when Dr. Fauci did it, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people don't fucking listen to common sense anymore. They just do whatever dear leader tells them to, exactly like these fucking cult members of the Jim Jones Kool-Aid cult did back in the day. He told them to drink the Kool-Aid. It was poison. They all dropped dead, and the ones that didn't drink the Kool-Aid and waited for everybody else to drink the Kool-Aid, and they see everybody dropping dead, and they're like, holy shit. They tried to get out of that, and they weren't getting out of it. They were getting shot at. I think a few people escaped with their lives, but they were slaughtered. They were gunned down. Like, that whole thing. But that's what it is. You either drink the Kool-Aid or we're coming at you. And when it comes to like the left and the right, all the people in prison when I was in the joint were telling me that I'm going to have a lot of friends when I get out of prison because all the Trump supporters are going to come to my side and they're going to be on my side and they're going to think what happened to me was bullshit, et cetera, et cetera. And I can 100% guarantee you that the worst treatment that I've received from people since I came out of prison, by and large, has been from Republicans. Republicans are the ones that treat me like garbage most of the time. And the people that have treated me the best, a lot of those people happen to be Democrats. I mean, I don't want to name names, but if I could take the top 20 people, the people who were the worst to me when I came home, all of them but one are Republican. One of them's a Democrat. The other 19 are Republicans. Republicans turned their back on me in force. They don't want anything to do with me. I thought Trump was your boy. No, they're the worst. They've been the worst to me. And I'm not saying every Republican has thrown me under the bus or treated me like garbage. In fact, a lot of them have come out and been very good to me. But I'm saying, by and large, if I were to just group all the people that treat me like shit and put them in a bucket, 99 out of 100 of them are going to be Republicans and there'll be one Democrat in there. And if I take all the people that have helped me along the way and helped and done nice things for me and actually pulled me aside to tell me to my face that what happened to you was bullshit and it should have never happened, and it makes me sick to know that I live in a country that would do that to somebody, those are Democrats. I've been told Democrats have come to tell me that. Democrats have showed up on the scene to say that to me. I have one Democrat look me straight in the face and say, we do not agree on anything whatsoever when it comes to politics, but what happened to you was wrong. And it makes me sick to know that we live in a country where that can happen, where you can be a political prisoner because you ran your mouth on social media, because that means we're all screwed. If they can do that to you, they can do that to any of us. That was a Democrat that pulled me aside to tell me that. And so, you know, I don't like, I don't even know what to say. People were telling me that Republicans would be my friend. They're not. Some of them are, but by and large, they're not good people. And they're just the people that are blindly clinging to one of these parties or the other are just, they're not worth the time. Let's see. I just had a thought go right in and out of my head. That's why I paused here for a second. It was important, but I can't force it to come back. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Hold on a second. It came to me again. It was just a statement. People that have helped me out on one side or the other, or just, how people treat me. Oh, when I was talking to my lawyer about jury selection, I said, I'm basically fucked because anybody on the jury who's a Democrat's going to look at me and they're going to say, oh, he's a Trump supporter. Fuck him. He deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison for mean tweets. And we're not even going to listen to the case. We're just going to sleep when the lawyers talk. We're going to go into the deliberation room in 5 minutes. We'll come back. Guilty, 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 guilty. All the Republicans on the jury are going to screw me over because Republicans love cops. They love law enforcement. The thin blue line, the boys in blue, the cops can do no wrong. America's heroes. The police are our heroes. He spoke out against the police. He spoke out against our heroes in the FBI. They're all good people. The same FBI that burned all the women and children to death at Waco. But, the good guys, the boys in blue, the heroes, the thin blue line. And they're going to see that, he threatened them. Kill him, throw him in prison. He needs to spend the rest of his life in prison. Guilty, 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 guilty. I wouldn't have even made sense to have a trial because they'd already made up their mind before they came to court, especially considering I was the most famous guy in America for a week. Fox News, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNBC, MSNBC, the Washington Post, the Washington Times, the New York Post, the New York Times, the Pittsburgh Democrat or the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, the Buffalo, whatever the fuck, the Jamestown, whatever the hell, the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, all of them, Cleveland, any city that I had anything going on in, it was all over the news, the local news, Channel 11 News, Chopper 11 in Pittsburgh. You had the KDKA News, and it was the top story for a fucking week. Guy goes to prison for mean tweets. So nobody's going to show up to the jury being like, the judge is going to ask, have any of you ever heard of this guy in the media? Yes. Like, he's going to raise your hand if you've heard of this case. Every single hand in the courtroom is going to go up. They're not going to be able to find a fucking jury. That's why they do. That's why they plaster you all over the news like that, because you're being crucified in public opinion before you even go into the courtroom. That's how they play their dirty game. They tell the public all the facts of the case and blah, blah, blah. That way the public knows all the facts before they come into the courtroom. And then the judge says, you can't use any of the facts that you already know when you're making your decision. You can only use the facts that I tell you. But they've already heard what they've heard. They're not going to get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. There's no such thing as a fair trial. It's a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, like I was saying, the people that helped me out the most were a lot of the people that really helped me were Democrats. A lot of the people that turned their backs on me, my ex that threw me out into the street to be homeless was a hardcore Republican. Other people told me, most of my friends that turned their back on me, and to this day I haven't spoken to, who want nothing to do with me, people I've known since I was 18 years old, people who would show up to my house in the woods with night vision goggles and military helmets and military outfits and fucking AR-15 rifles with night vision scopes and laser sights and all this stuff to go run around the woods playing army games at night, practicing for when the fucking New World Order comes to take shit over. That's not a Democrat. That's not Democrat. The Democrat crowd don't do that on the weekends for fun. My friends did. In the woods by my fucking house, they turned their backs on me. They said they don't want anything to do with him. We don't want to. My fucking friends had a secret clubhouse meeting, like straight up, like we're in the third grade. They all met at the fucking clubhouse in the tree. And they got together and they had a secret vote and they voted to not be friends with me anymore. About 10 different fucking people did this. They got together at someone's house to have a vote, a committee vote, whether they should be my friend or not. And then they weren't. And I haven't talked to any of them since. And fuck them. If you're watching right now, you can go choke on a dick. Fucking, I don't want anything to do with you fucking people anymore. Turn your fucking back on somebody because he said some mean tweets. Like, what the fuck, man? I had one friend that didn't turn his back on me. And other people came out of the woodwork later on that were like good acquaintances and good either friends from the past or acquaintances or things like that, childhood friends that I lost touch with. Like, people have come out of the woodwork to show support and say, look, that was bullshit. What happened to you? Whatever. Some people have come out and said, you should have spent the rest of your life in prison, you worthless piece of shit. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have to deal with it for the rest of my life. One or the, people are going to have their opinion. But anyway, so like this is what I'm getting at when I talk about the hypocrisy between the MAGA cult and between that and between the MAGA cult and the Democrat cult. I think I made my point about that. And I'm kind of just scrolling through whatever else I wanted to talk about, but I think that pretty much covers it. You got the four kinds of people. You got the ignorant. Ignorance is bliss, and it truly is. Like, I don't have a problem. I get along with the people that are ignorant and don't care. They don't want to hear the conspiracy theory. They don't want to know who's in charge. They don't want to know the dirt. They don't want to know any of that. They're good. But we can all get along. We have fun. The awake people are fun to get to know because here, borrow my tinfoil hat and see all the stories that are in it. And I'll take your tinfoil hat and we'll trade it's like trading cards. It's like trading baseball cards. And, it's like, look at this. Look at this. It's another person who visited Epstein Island. Well, here, check this out. And, we're swapping news stories like they're baseball cards on the sandbox when we're little kids. And, but then the Democrats and Republicans show up and it's like, get the fuck out of here. I can't stand you. Just go. Like, either get with the program or go home. Like, yeah, we get it. Bill Clinton is a bad guy. Hillary Clinton's a bad person. So is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not a good guy either. George Bush is a bad guy. His dad was a horrible person. Barack Obama is a piece of shit who married a man. Joan Rivers died because she told all of us Mike Obama is a man. So that's all I'm getting at. Like, I see it all. Like, nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore. That don't matter. Like, anything could show up in the news and I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right. That comet that's flying around the sun and people are like, oh, it's an alien spaceship and this and that and the other thing. All right. Yep. Sure. Sounds good to me. I don't care. Like, whatever, dude. At this point, anything goes. Anything goes. I'll watch a video that's definitely made from AI. But sometimes some of these videos, man, you can't even tell anymore. But I'll watch a video that I know is AI and I'll be like, you know what? It's probably true anyway. Fuck it. I just don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I know I'm not completely ignorant because I know all the things that are going on. But I don't care anymore because I've been through it. I watched a guy get stabbed and I don't know. He may have died. I don't know if he lived. I saw a guy get stabbed over a bag of potato chips. And I watched organs falling out of his body when he run across the cell block. Like, what the fuck are you gonna, like, I've seen it all. Like, I've seen the worst. I've seen it all. And the bag of chips, it wasn't like a regular bag of potato chips. It was one of these little fucking snack bags that you get in your little pumpkin bucket when you're a little kid going out trick-or-treating. Tiny little bag of fucking Fritos. Somebody got stabbed to death over that in prison. And I'm looking at this thing on the ground and I'm like, is that a fucking spleen? Like, what is that? It's like this fucking thing on the ground going like this. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just trying to live. I'm trying to survive and trying not to die. And the only thing I had going for me was the fact that I threatened the FBI, and all the people in prison hate the FBI, especially when you're in federal prison. So instead of, because you're a white middle-aged guy who's obviously one of those computer guys, you know what that means. If they say you're a white guy, middle-aged, one of those computer guys, that means you're a chomo. And so, but because I was so famous and all over the news, when I walked onto a cell block the first time, I'm not shitting you. When I walked onto a cell block with other inmates for the first time, one of the inmates looked up and said, "Oh my God, it's him!" And the dude pointed up, and I looked up, and my mugshot was on the TV screen in the cell block. Boom, you're good. I passed the Chomo test right there. I was like, dude was like, for breakfast, he's like, "Hey man, you're cool with me. You get an extra carton of milk. You're getting an extra slice of bread. You get 3 tacos on taco day, homie." Like shit like that. They all liked it. They all loved the fact that what I did, I was their fucking hero. I'm not proud of it, but when you're in a fucking room full of a bunch of fucking dudes who pulled the ladder off of the bunk beds to turn it into a fucking shank, and they're running around stabbing each other over a bag of fucking potato chips, you'll do whatever the fuck you got to do to live and survive it. You want to hear the stories? Fuck, man. I got 2 years worth or 20 months, whatever it was, 600 days worth of stories to blow your fucking mind and make you not want to go to prison. You want to send me to, why don't you send me to fucking why don't you scared straight? You want me to scare these kids straight? Yeah, I'll tell them about the time I saw a dude's body organs falling out because he got stabbed up over a bag of potato chips, or another dude who was so high on drugs that he climbed up on the fucking railing and kicked one of the fucking TVs off the stand, and I'd have to go back to my jail journal. I kept a journal, so I have all the stories to share someday. And I almost got in trouble for having a jail journal because all the other inmates were like, "What the fuck you doing with that?" So I had to show it to them and show them that I wasn't ratting anybody out, or, because now it's all of a sudden 60 days in and you're in here spying on us, trying to gather evidence for they thought I was a mole. And so shit is so messed up, man. But anyway, I'm going to read through the comments. I'm just going to scroll backwards here. Okay. Let's see how far back. Whoo, boy. Yeah, okay. Jam Bongino just quit. We talked about him. He's a worthless sack of shit. Blue Sky says, divide them so they're easier to... Exactly. Divide and conquer. The elites at the top, they get together. They're all partying together. They're all hanging out together, clanking their champagne glasses. Nancy Pelosi's clanking her glass with JD Vance, and they're laughing at all the peasants because the peasants think that their vote matters. Your vote doesn't. The votes are counted a week before the election. They're not. Your vote doesn't count. True Blue, we have 2 parties to keep us divided. Exactly. Divide and conquer. Get these peasants fighting with each other, then they'll leave us alone. It's exactly what they're doing. It's what Caesar did. That's what all the emperors do. That's exactly what Emperor Palpatine did to keep power in the galaxy. Get one group of people fighting with another group of people so that they're not fighting against him. Boom, take over the whole galaxy. I woke up, John JS says, I woke up when I saw a reporter announced Building 7 falling down 30 seconds before it actually fell. Yeah. Whoops. Exactly. And yeah, when Larry Silverstein first of all, Building 7 wasn't even hit by a plane, and it just went boop in the afternoon, well after the other buildings had already collapsed and they'd already started cleaning up the fucking mess. Oh, and boop, that building just drops. And then Larry Silverstein gets on TV and says, yeah, we made the decision to pull it. And then we pulled the building and it came down. He basically told us that it was a controlled demolition. How do you wire up a building like that full of explosives to do a controlled demolition? I don't know, but it was. I showed you in my Synchronicity series video a video of a controlled demolition of a building in downtown Pittsburgh that had a painting on the side of it painted by the woman who I knew, who was killed on TWA Flight 800. And I was standing at ground zero when they dropped the building. I was right there. I had a front row seat to watch that building implode with her mural on it. And it's all in that video. It's easy to find. And so when the World Trade Center came down, I'm like, that's a controlled demolition. Like that the plane didn't do that. And I'm like, I can see it for what it is. And the Democrats, I was getting along with the Republicans want to say the Democrats started censorship. No, they did not. How many times did Bill O'Reilly, you'd get somebody trying to tell the truth about 9/11, or a Democrat talking about the crimes of the Bush family or whatever? Bill O'Reilly would be like, cut the mic, shut him off, go to commercial, quick, get him out. And boom, they'd be like, Fox News alert. And then, or they'd go to a fucking commercial, or they just, boom, it's gone. And then they'd come back from the commercial break and that person's gone. Cut the mic, he's out of here. People were getting kicked off of social media for telling 9/11 truth before getting kicked off of social media was cool. The OGs of censorship were all Democrats. So it didn't surprise me when the Democrats, who are in charge of all things tech to begin with, started censoring conservatives. It wasn't because a lot of it had to do was because when the conservatives were in power, they were censoring the Democrats every day. But nobody wants to talk about that anymore. But I lived through it. I was being censored back then for things I said and being thrown under the bus and all kinds of stuff back then because I was talking out against the Bush administration and everybody was calling me a stupid Democrat. Because they didn't know that I'm actually awake and don't give a crap about either one of those parties. So, let's see. I'd quit too, John. I'm sure he's frustrated as hell. Dan Bongino, I think they threatened his family. Like, we're going to kill your wife and kids while you watch if you don't toe the line. And then he shows up on Fox News looking like a deer caught in the headlights. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Definitely not. Nope, definitely not. I mean, that motherfucker, he's going to have a field day when he goes back to being a podcaster. You thought I have a lot of trolls on my channel. That dude's going to be nothing but trolls. He's going to be dealing with 1,000 trolls a minute. Because what a traitor. I ain't got no respect for him. They have to ditch Bondi. We talked about that. So Trump can hire another piece of worthless shit to take her place. Let's see. There are no coincidences. Nope. Definitely not. There were so many today. Here's one. If you're into the spiritual stuff, when I picked up, so there's a bunch of random stuff going on in my life right now that's all signs and wonders and spirituality and God and signs and just things in the air. And when I picked up my card, I told you the coincidence about how I was editing the book and I reached that one line. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I will choose free will. Rush. My car was done. I got a phone call 30 seconds later saying my car was done. When I picked up my car, the radio, everything was reset in the car because electronics, the battery had been disconnected for a while they worked on it, this, that, and the other thing. And so I'm pulling out and I get onto the main road and I'm like, there's one thing I had to do before I did the live stream tonight. And I was already behind and I didn't get around to it yet. And I'm like, crap, I still have to do that. And so I'm driving to the grocery store and I'm like, what time is it? And I go and I hit the clock button and it said 11:11. It wasn't 11:11, but because the clock had been reset in my car and it wasn't showing the right time. It was 11:11 and it sat there staring at me in the face for like 5 minutes. I swear to God, it would not change to 11:12. And I'm like, wait a minute. It felt like more than a minute went by before it became 11:12, but it sat there staring me in the face 11:11. And if you're into esoteric wisdom and spirituality and all that kind of stuff, you would understand that the 11:11 is like a sign from above, and it has a significance, and it had a very, very powerful significance for me today, because it was basically confirming that all of these things that are in my intuition is telling me a bunch of stuff about some things that I'm having a hard time believing, but I can't deny it, and I can't not believe it because it's ridiculous the amount of evidence to back up my intuition. And then this was like the sign telling me what you think is real is real. Like it was a confirmation of, yeah, dude, that's exactly what's going on. And that was just that was like sign number 20 that hit me today in the face, like direct smack in the face as I've been going through my day today. One after the next, and it's been like this for a few weeks. And honestly, like I'm just used to it now. My life, that's all that's nonstop in my life. When the synchronicity stops and weird coincidences stop, then I know something's wrong. When these things pop up all the time, weird things like that that can't be explained as just a coincidence, then I know I'm on the right path with something, because that always happens when things are going in the right direction. So whatevs, got it. Like it's, I don't know what's going to happen with this or that or the other thing, but I just feel like it was kind of like a confirmation for me to stop worrying about a bunch of crap and to just go with the flow. The river, you're in a canoe and you're going down the river. And if you don't like it, too bad, because try going the other direction. You're not going to go anywhere. So you may as well just ride the river, see where it goes, because you're not going to be able to stop the water. So just go where the river takes you and see what happens. And so, there are no coincidences. Yep, they were compromised. I'm delusioned by the political system. I think you can, I think we're on the same, you get it. I think I've said enough tonight to say we're on the same team there. I wish he'd stop talking about the dividend distribution. The Supreme Court will strike down the tariffs, and then POTUS will have to pay every cent back. I'll give back my $2,000 if it means one of the Epstein pedophiles goes to jail. I mean, when Donald Trump, more than 9 years ago, Donald Trump told Hillary Clinton to her face, if I were president, you'd be in jail. Well, it's been 9 fucking years, dude. When's that going to happen? When the fuck is that going to happen? When the Clinton body count edition 32 comes out on YouTube, because she just whacked 3 more people last week and 2 to the back of the head. People who tied themselves to the train tracks to get run over because they couldn't take it anymore. Like, how many more of these do we need before she goes to jail? How many more email servers with classified emails does she have to have in her closet at her house? I don't know, man. Your twat retweets were hysterical the other day. I'm trying to schedule memes in advance. It's hard, though. I have a massive meme collection. I'm trying to schedule memes on my own timeline to use as a gauge to see how much my own timeline gets played, because the only way to grow an X account, just if you're FYI, comment on other people's posts that are popular people, and then your comments will be seen. But if you post on your own timeline and you are not popular, nobody will see anything you post. It will never show up in anybody's feed. So that's the strategy. And it's a well-known strategy. That's how you have to do it. Every platform is different, how you manipulate the algorithm and how you grow your shit. X is you have to be the comment guy, the funny comment guy. The funnier comment I leave, I had 102,000 impressions the other day because I left a couple of funny comments on people's popular people's thread. I get an alert on my phone now when Pam Bondi makes a new X post, because if I can be within 30 seconds of her posting on X, if I can post a Pam Bondi's a dumb bimbo meme, I'll get 100,000 views on that. And then I'll get like 10 new followers out of it. But that's, that's the ratio you got to do. You got to get 100,000 views on your Pam Bondi as a bimbo post when Pam Bondi posts a new post on X, and then maybe 10 new people will follow your account. So imagine like how it's going to take a year of me fucking around before I find out. So, but I'm working on it because I feel like X is growing, YouTube is stagnant. So if I can get enough following on X, then I can get them to come over to YouTube and we can all have a party. So I'm trying to figure out what will work. And then I've got some other things I'm working on for YouTube to break the algorithm and see if I can break through the barrier there. So if you want your followers to grow, sign up for a blue check mark. That's exactly what I did. I did it for another reason, because I had to use Grok to do something that you had to pay for. And I'm like, well, may as well do it. And so I signed up for premium on X, and my account just went boom, like, because your blue check post, your comments on, so when Pam Bondi posts a new post on X, I get a notification on my phone. If I can post a meme under it saying Pam Bondi is a dumb bimbo who goes on Fox News and doesn't do her job, whatever, I'll be at the top. I'll be the first comment that people see when they go and click on her thread. 10 million people are going to click on that. They're all going to, the ones that scroll are going to see my meme that I post, that I stole from somebody. I didn't make it, but I posted a meme. And so, and then some of those people will click on, because I put the photo up of me in a orange prison jumpsuit. So that's going to be like, what the fuck is this guy? Click on it, and you see my X profile page. And then, oh, I'm going to follow him. He's an up and coming star. And I've got 300 something followers closing in on 400. So if you've got less than 1,000, when people click on it, they're like, oh, this guy's nobody. He only has 400 people following him. I'm not going to follow him. He's not important. Well, I would be important, you dumb motherfucker, if you'd hit the follow button, but fuck you. So you have to be big before people will follow you, which is, it's the catch-22 of these things. I guarantee you, when I get 1,000 followers, I'll start picking up followers like a dozen an hour. You have to get that first 1,000, because that's the magic number, where if you have less than 1,000, he's not important enough for me to follow. But when you have 200,000 followers, the time it takes you to go from 200 to 300,000 followers is about the same amount of time it took you to get from 0 to 100 followers. But you'll gain 100,000 followers in the same amount of time as it took you to get the first 100, because that's just how people's minds work. They don't want to follow you if you're not important, but you're not important unless that follower count is up there. If I could fake the follower count to say 100,000 followers today by paying somebody, then I would get up to 400,000 followers in like a month, because that's just how people are. And so the guy who asked about Skull and Bones to both candidates died Tim Russert. He Meet the Press. George Bush went on. He asked George Bush about Skull and Bones, and George Bush was like, it's we can't talk about it. He did that. And then John Kerry went on, and he asked him about Skull and Bones, and John Kerry was like, oh, you're not talking about that. And then George W. Bush went on again, and he asked him about Skull and Bones again, and George Bush was like, it's so secret, we can't even talk about it. And that's it. And then 3 weeks later, Tim Russert's dead. Yeah, you can't even ask him that question. They're going to kill you. It's just like when Joan Rivers told everybody that Barack Obama's wife is a tranny. Boom, she's gone. She was dead like 2 weeks later. But Joan Rivers was old, and old people die. But I know why she died. Her family knows why she died. I'm trying very hard at my stage in life to avoid dipshits. Me too. I'm a hermit. I don't go out much. I stay home. I ride my bike. I go to the bakery. I go to the grocery store. I hang out with my close friend that I moved in with down here. His brother's been in town. I hung out with them a couple times. They're busy too. I mean, they're hermits. They don't like to do anything anymore. We're all just kind of like, why the fuck do we even want to bother going out in public when we can make our home life better than that? And I live in a tiny little place here. I mean, I do got to get out and see nature more. That's my biggest thing. Now that my car is fixed, I think I'm gonna like force myself to go out. I mean, Christmas week, it's supposed to be like 80 plus degrees, man. Mrs. Claus is going to be out in a bikini when Santa Claus comes to Houston. So I'm cool with that. Like, I could find a place to go hike. There's a park at the end of my road with a bunch of not even a mile down the road from where I'm sitting right now with a whole bunch of hiking trails. I should just, I'm going to go down and check it out. John JS says, I only vote for local issues in my state. If I knew that if there was a vote to legalize weed, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go. Yes. The vote was already decided before I went, but I would show up to vote for weed. Weed is better than any political candidate. I would vote for weed any day. Angel said, Angel, he kept promising refunds. We aren't getting it, and maybe we shouldn't, as that would make inflation skyrocket. That's all these politicians. Oh, let's bribe the peasants with a $2,000 check before the midterms. George Bush did it. Didn't Trump do it a while back during the COVID scam? I mean, it's just like, oh, let's give the people in the ghetto get $1,000 to go blow on a new TV and some spinning rims, and yay, they're gonna vote for the Republicans now. What the fuck, man? It's just a stupid bribe. I won't get a dime of that if they come. I'm not gonna get a check in the mail from them. I could give a shit what happens. I know I won't get one. I gotta go, but definitely watching the replay of this one. Good to know. The ads will be turned on, so I'll get a couple pennies. Thank you, Alex, for that. And take care. Can't we all just get along? I mean, we got 8 people in the house right now. As soon as I started talking about the cults, it dropped from about closing in on 20 down to 8. So there was about 10 people who couldn't get along, but the rest of us are getting along just fine. Yep, Alex, sorry I missed your comment. All that and a bag of chips. Yeah. All that and a spleen is worth a bag of chips in prison. You would not be you couldn't even the level of stupidity you think you could imagine. You think you could imagine how bad it is in prison. You can't. You cannot. Like, I don't even know how to describe what I saw in there. I don't even know how to tell you how bad it was in a way that your mind could even comprehend it, because unless you've lived it and seen it with your own eyes, you can't. That would be like me saying I know what it's like to have a baby and give birth. It's like a Democrat who cuts off his Peter, runs around in a dress and tells everybody he's a girl now. He still isn't going to know a damn thing about childbirth. I mean, taking a big dump is about the closest he's ever going to know to get, about what childbirth might be like. So, Trump just signed something for weed. Whatever. I know they're trying to make it like a lower schedule. Trump isn't going to sign anything that'll allow me to go smoke a bowl while I'm on probation. I'll tell you that. A Democrat might. When I was in New York, the Buffalo probation officer said, I don't give a shit if you wanted to smoke weed, but the federal government considers it to be illegal, so I can't allow you to smoke weed. But if you hang out with people that smoke weed, or if I come in the house and I see weed, because my ex was a weed smoker, he's like, I'm not going to care. but if you fail a drug test, we're going to have a problem. And I know from other people who went back to prison for a probation violation. One guy told me that he failed a piss test 9 times. And then after the 9th time, the probation officer was like, all right, I'm going to have to bring you in front of the judge. And then they put him back in jail. 9 times. So I have a feeling I could probably piss dirty 5 times. I've already been out. I've only got 16 months left. You figure if I piss dirty every other month, I could still get away with it until the end of the fucking. But yeah, one dirty piss test is gonna. I just got done talking about how my probation officer he wants to take me off of. Basically, wants to take me off of probation to the point where I'll never see somebody coming to my house again. I'll just have to be a good boy and fill out my paperwork every month and be good and don't go to jail. And we'll be good. I'm sure if, like, for some reason they're like, oh, by the way, here's a plastic cup, you know what to do. And that comes back wrong. Well, now I'm in for a world of shit that I didn't want. So it's not worth it. So I'm not going to do it. But boy, oh boy, the day that I got my fucking freedom papers, I'm driving I don't care if I have to drive to the Indian reservation in New York. I'm getting a fucking bag. I'm buying a fucking ounce. I'm going to be, you won't see you'll see an interesting live stream the next time I'm on YouTube. That's for fucking sure. Cause I am stressed the fuck out and I could use that. And it's good for stress. It ain't alcohol. Anybody who thinks weed is worse than alcohol is an idiot who's never smoked weed and doesn't know anything about it. Weed's nothing. Weed makes you relax and get hungry and eat cookies, of which I have plenty to choose from. That's about all you're going to get with weed. Alcohol makes you beat your wife, drive and crash into trees and kill people out on the road and all kinds of crazy shit. Hey, they got no compare. Alcohol is legal and weed's not. Go figure. Weed helps you actually talk to God and communicate with the spirits a little bit better. And your intuition goes through the roof and all that kind of stuff. It's if I'm sitting in front of a computer and I've got to be creative and I've got to do like graphic design and creative work, I smoke a bowl. Shit, man, the stuff that comes out is award-winning stuff. The creativity is unleashed. But if I got to do programming and I've got to do math and I've got to add and subtract and do mathematics and numbers, like, don't smoke a bowl. Don't wait until you got to do the graphic design part. Now you can get high. That's how weed works. Can't do math, but you can draw like a motherfucker. You Bob Ross ain't got shit. Why you think Bob Ross was high all the time? You think he painted all them happy trees sober? No, he was high. He smoked so much. He smoked more weed than Snoop Doggy Dogg. So, anyway, that'll be hysterical. It sure will. But I'm a pretty chill pot smoker. You wouldn't know. You really wouldn't know the difference. I mean, I don't know if the camera's good enough to see how bloodshot my eyes may or may not be, but that'd be about it. You might see some red eye, but they make Visine for that. And if I'm going on the live stream, you're not going to know. You're really not going to know. Some people, yes, you'll know. There are some people who get on YouTube high and I'm like, that person's high as a motherfucker. But some people can just keep on keeping on. You wouldn't know. See, people used to tell me when I was in, after I got out of art school and I worked as a graphic designer, they're like, Adam, how do you go into work high? And I'm like, well, that's easy. On your first day of the job, smoke a bowl before you go to work. And then you walk in the place high. And then every day that you're there, you're high. And nobody's going to know because that's just how he is. And so that's how you do it. You go on the first day, you don't make it, and that's just how you are. And so how do you know when Adam's high? He's there. That's how you know. That's what it is. Like, people who smoke weed know what I'm talking about. And it ain't nothing. It's not a big deal. Weed, I mean, alcohol. I don't drink alcohol I'm allowed to drink alcohol. I don't give a shit about alcohol. I got no beer in the house. I got no desire to drink. I went over to my friend's house for Thanksgiving. I had like one beer, I think two beers, craft beers, because my friend likes good beer. And I was like, oh, it's tasty. And I had two, and I was like, damn, that's hitting. But it's because I don't drink and I don't give a shit about it. And after two, that was like, I think I finished the second one during the meal. And then I hung out for like 3 hours after the meal. And then I was like, all right, I can go home now because, that's worn off. And, but I don't have a desire I don't like go out because I don't want to drink. I had a bad experience a few years back, and alcohol and I are not friends anymore. And all 5 of the friends that I was with all quit drinking on the same night. It was crazy. Craziest fucking, no wine festivals, no beer festivals ever again. All 6 of us, we didn't stop drinking. We just stopped ever being drunk again. Sitting around the campfire, couple beers. I could even do a 6-pack if I'm sitting around a campfire and we start drinking at like 2 PM, or so, who knows, 5 PM. I usually wouldn't crack a beer until about sundown. I usually didn't, or dinner, sundown or dinner time. I'm cracking a bud, or beer, not a bud. Fuck. Oh, water. If I'm drinking beer, I'm drinking something good. Delirium tremens is my favorite, but you can't just buy that anywhere. Other than that, like Dogfish Head, something hoppy. Anything hoppy is good for me. I like, a lot of different stuff there. But I'll just go and find whatever I can find. And I do like the Dogfish Head pumpkin beer that they would put out in October. And, but I'm drinking for quality, not quantity. I'm not going to get a $5 case of Beast to chug like we did at the Art Institute. Hey, get 20 people to get 20 people to throw in a quarter, and we got $5 to go get a case of Beast. We're good for at least an hour or two. Oh my God. But no, I don't drink. I don't give a shit about alcohol, but I would smoke weed every day if I wasn't on probation. And I live in Texas where, half of the country has made weed legal. In Texas, they're like, no, we're going to make it a felony just to smoke a bowl. Fuck you. Fuck you. And all the people who tell me I'm an asshole because I want legal weed are all Republicans who don't know a goddamn thing about weed. And so weed should be illegal. It's part of that Democrat Republican cult that I was talking about. The Republicans in the cult don't want legal weed, but they want to get drunk off their fucking hillbilly asses drinking fucking Miller Lite all day long, crashing their fucking tractor into the ditch next to the cornfield while they broke their horse's leg because they were too drunk to ride. Like, that's what, but no, we can't have weed. That's wrong. That's bad. Fuck these people. So anyway, we're getting in about the end of this stream, and I think I covered the topic. We've talked about a lot of other stuff. Keep in touch. Keep in mind the members only live stream is Sunday. I think Sunday's cool this week. Sunday at 2 p.m. And once again, the other stream, this stream that you're listening to now, the regular stream will be Thursday at 6 next week, I think. Wait. No, son of a bitch, that's Christmas Day. We'll figure it out. If I ain't doing nothing for Christmas, I'll do a live stream because why not? Ho, ho, ho. But I don't expect anybody to show up. But then again, some people don't do anything on Christmas. If I don't have anything to do on Christmas, which is somewhat likely, cool. I don't need to. I'm just fine. I'm fine with. I'll have to call my kids and things like that. But with that, I think I'm just gonna say everybody's high in Minnesota. You can't walk down any street in New York State now that it's legal without smelling weed in the air. And it just made me sick to my stomach because I'm like, man, everybody can fucking smoke weed but me. And the Indian reservation sells weed. You can get a freaking ounce of kind bud for $30. I'm like, I never thought I'd see the day where a tank of gas costs more than an ounce of weed. A freaking eighth of weed used to be like $60 for the good stuff. Now you can get a whole ounce, 8/8. You can get 8 of those bags that used to cost $60 a piece. You can get 8 of them now for $30 because weed's legal. And I'm like, what the fuck? And now it's like, so now it's $30 for a bag of weed, an ounce of weed that's going to last a month. And it's $60 for a tank of gas so I can go to work for a week. What the fuck? It used to be $30 for a tank of gas for me to go to work for a week, and $60 for a little bag of weed that's only going to last a week. So that's where we're at, kids. But Texas, they don't want to play ball. And when I get my freedom papers, I'm going to walk from this place. That's for sure. Because I don't want to live someplace where weed is a felony. You can go to prison for a year because you smoked a bowl. But that's for another day. And but until then, I hope y'all have a good week. Everybody who's stuck around, everybody who's chilling during the replay. I got to go get something to eat. I'm dying and I got to take care of some other things. So with that, I am going to say peace out, y'all, and find this button here and then say, oh, click that and then say peace out, y'all, for sure. Later.